unti. Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the finale of The Last Nights on Earth. The finale and also the beginning of finale week as well. I am ready to go through the emotional turmoil that is finale week, I think. Before we go around and say hello to all the wonderful faces around our screen, first of all, please do check out the links that the bot is going to be spamming at you right now. The newest thing is Streamlabs merch. We now have merch available through Streamlabs, so you can buy that and it will be put on as a donation. Do I have an alert up for that? Who knows, but we'll find out. Also, check out all of our social links, all the places you can go to support us, our sponsor information, and the places you can get 10 to 15% discount from certain websites. Big thank you to Magehand Press and Bird and the Storm Publishing who make this all possible. Don, I hand over to you.
Well, hello. Hi, everybody, and thank you for being here for our final episode of our community series, Last Nights on Earth. This has been a real joy for me to do. I get to play with so many different players and see so many different characters and ideas brought to this story that we've kind of crafted ourselves over the past 3 months. As we started with a brother and a sister, Rutherford and Celeste, and they traveled east from New York City, across post-apocalyptic America, seeing the sights, saving the people, and trying their best to hold their family together in a world that is falling apart. And we'll get to where they are now and what's going to happen today here shortly. But the first thing I want to do is to say this is an improv world-building game. So there's not a lot of prep behind it. We kind of come in and we help tell each other a story. We listen to each other. And it's really that listening and building off of what everybody else wants to do that I think has made this a really, really fun game to play. That's what this game is going to be today. We will reach the end of our story for good or for evil. I vote evil, but other people might have other ideas. Before we get there, I want to introduce our new characters today, find out a little bit about them. So I'm going to go around. Please tell me a little bit about yourself as a player. Tell me about your character, whatever you want to share with the audience. And I might have a few questions for you, too. And let's go ahead and start off. Let's meet Cams today.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan and I am Dice on Ice, so you can find me lots of places. And today I'm going to be playing Cam Ryan, or Camriel, and he is a divine who found himself on Earth for reasons that he doesn't even quite understand as of yet, and he is basically just trying to do some good, to be a good person in this world where there isn't a lot of very good people or a lot of very good intentions, but he is trying to see the best in the world. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm very excited to play.
Yeah. Have you ever played Monster of the Week before or any other Powered by
I haven't.
Games? Cool.
Mm-mm.
Cool. So for anybody watching who hasn't seen any of our other shows, Powered by the Apocalypse, usually very, very simple ideas, and each version of the game is built differently. You roll 2d6 and you add your modifier, subtract it if it's a penalty, and if you get less than a 7, bad things happen. You get 7, 8, or 9, you succeed in what you're trying to do, but with some sort of consequence. And if you score a 10 or higher, generally only good things for you and your character. The GM doesn't have to roll. It's all player inspired, what the player does. I might ask the players to roll sometimes, but they'll always be the ones rolling the dice. That's how it works. As far as your character goes today, do you imagine, because you had mentioned that they had come down to Earth before the apocalypse began, correct?
Just within the few days of the apocalypse starting, yeah.
Okay, great. And so how do you think their perspective on human beings has changed over the course of 3 months now, as they've watched the world kind of fall apart very, very quickly?
So at first, Camriel was extremely jaded, I suppose, by what the humans were doing to each other and what they he looked at this as this is them doing this to themselves. But as he's met a lot more people and as he's kind of gained more worldly knowledge, has taken on less of a jaded, angry view of the world and more of these people are doing things by circumstance. They're being forced to do this, and whether good or bad, they are just a victim of circumstance, essentially. And so to him, now there is kind of like this pity or guilt, I suppose, that he could not have done something to kind of get rid of their circumstances.
Okay. So he's still seeing the best in people, or at least the potential for the best in people, even despite how violent and kind of hurtful and in pain the world is. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of this weird thing where usually people go from best to worst, but he's kind of done the opposite in that he's kind of gone there the worst to, maybe they need to be given a chance. Maybe that's ignorance. Maybe he's, kind of covered his eyes over in these rose-colored glasses-ish. So we'll see.
Does he blame God at all for the circumstance that human beings find themselves in now?
I think he does. I think deep down, so he was exiled. He knows that, but he doesn't know why or what happened up in heaven to have him, be forced to come down to earth. But he does have this underlying resentment for God to not have done something to prevent this or to have helped them out.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go over then and meet our other new character for the day, Jake. Hi, welcome.
Hi. So I'm Joshua. You can find me on Twitter at Joshua Barbeau. And I'll be playing Jake the Flake, because he's Flake. The character of Jake. So he's a character who kind of sees the patterns. He's a little bit crazy, but who isn't in this apocalyptic world? But he was a little bit crazy even before the apocalypse. He saw the patterns in everything, and especially the patterns in people, and the relationships people make, and the decisions that the mistakes that people are always making time after time. He survived the apocalypse actually because he predicted it was going to happen and took the necessary precautions. So he's also very jaded and very distrusting of people. If we end up deciding that him and Cam are journeying together, that'd be interesting because Cam is not a person per se. He's an angel or something like that. So in any event, Jake is constantly predicting things that are going to go wrong, and he's always expecting the worst out of people, and so that he's never disappointed. But I think there's a shred of hope for humanity inside him still. He's venturing the wasteland, partially for survival, but also partially because I think a part of him wants to find someone that will restore his faith in humanity, that will prove him wrong, that not everyone is the way that he predicts everyone always might be.
Awesome. That does bring me to a few questions here. And I see we just got a donation in for Celeste. I think that's a reroll. So that's cool. That's cool. That's fine.
We've also
thank
already
you,
smashed 10 retweets done.
Oh yeah. I'm planning by the time we get out of these intros, I think we'll be at 20 and we can go ahead and roll a couple of potions for us today. We'll get to that here in a second. So I have a couple of questions then. So with Jake, he's traveling to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is one of the two major bastions of what remains of civilization in America, at least. Him being such a loner, do you think that he thinks that in Las Vegas he might find that hope that he's kind of still partially clinging on to?
So I think that might be part of it. Uh, there's a part of him, like I said, on the inside that he's clinging to. He always expects the worst in people, so that he's never disappointed. But I think part of him wants to be proven wrong. So there is that aspect as to why he might go towards civilization. I think the other aspect is simply a survival necessity. He expects there's to be more sources of things like food, perhaps, in Las Vegas than there is in the wasteland. I don't know exactly the full circumstances of the apocalypse, but I'm imagining that survival is a daily struggle. So
yeah, and we will. I'll talk a little bit about that, but that is absolutely true. That the rumors that have been going around are that Las Vegas has resources, and that's why people are coming from all directions on the continent to try to get to places like Las Vegas or New Orleans that are sort of the last bastions of resources in some sort of society, civilization on any larger scale. Now, you'd mentioned that maybe Jake and Cam knew each other or had been traveling together.
Or at least I'm thinking maybe they've met since the apocalypse and are traveling together. If Megan is also cool with that idea, I think that they would make an interesting pairing, because Jake, as a human, has lost all faith in humanity, and Cam, as what's the word, an angel? Is he an angel? So okay, Cam as an angel isn't human, but also is very jaded because of the circumstances that he's witnessing around him. So they might make an interesting pairing. Jake's tendency to see the patterns in people might not work on Cam, for example, and it might be refreshing for him.
Megan, I have a question about Cam. How does Cam appear to human beings? Is it obvious? Does he hide that he's an angel, or is it obvious to anyone who meets him that there's some sort of divine thing going on with him?
So I would imagine that he doesn't have like the wings and the halo and the ethereal light, but there's just he appears in all intents and purposes human, but just a little bit different. Maybe I think it's mostly in his eyes. They just have this almost universe knowledge, this otherworldly heavenly knowledge to them, and that's very obvious to people who are looking, if that makes sense.
So Jake is a very observant character. He specifically has a character trait that says he can see the patterns in everything. So there's very little that he would miss. Now that might not apply to Cam, because Cam is different from everyone else he's ever met. But maybe Jake doesn't know that Cam is not human, but at the very least, I think Jake would know that Cam is very different from anyone he's ever met.
Yeah, and I think what might draw Cam to Jake is that he sees that little spark of wanting to see the good in people, and is drawn to him in that he wants to try and nurture that goodness and to see it, and because I think he's tried to help other people like that in the past, but they've been not as receptive to it, because maybe that viewpoint is seen as very ignorant, if not stupid, in this world, to see like better things in people. So I think that would definitely draw Cam to Jake.
Cool. Let me ask you guys this. Do either one of you in your playbooks have any moves that you need to roll before we start the game today? Oh, you did. Joshua, you're muted currently.
I do. Sorry, my ability to unmute myself was locked.
It happens all the time. Yeah. So what's the ability? And let's go ahead and roll it.
So my ability is called Connect the Dots. And at the beginning of each mystery, I don't know if this constitutes a mystery, but it says, I get to look for the wider patterns in current events, and I get to roll a sharp roll, which lets me ask the keeper a specific question. Now, does this is that where I would roll this?
Yeah, so if you go to your character sheet, you'll see charm, cool, sharp, tough, and weird. These are your stats. So when I ask you to roll something, I'll ask you to roll charm or roll sharp. So if you just click on that button by sharp to the left of it, it'll go ahead and give you a prompt. You don't have, if I tell you get -2 to a roll, then you'd put in a -2 there, but that's not the case here, so you just press enter.
Okay, so I just rolled a 13 on sharp.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen it come through. So
on a 10 plus,
that's right.
It says hold 3, and I can spend my hold during the mystery to ask you questions. So I have 3 questions I can ask you at any point during the mystery.
That's correct. Yeah. So you don't use them right now. You hold on to them until the right moments for you.
Yeah. And it gives me a list of 5 to choose from. So there's 5 different choices I have, and I can ask you 3.
Cool. Yeah, I figured you probably had taken that. That's like the coolest thing about the flake, in my opinion.
It's what instantly drew me to that character was that ability. So
great. All right, so we're 1 retweet away from 20. I'm going to go ahead and start rolling potions because every 10 retweets. Do you have another?
I was just going to say I should also point out. The other ability I picked is Suspicious Mind. If anybody lies to me, I automatically know it. So that's a thing you should know as the keeper.
Yeah, I just glanced through your character sheet. I saw that.
Okay.
Which I love. The reason I love Monster of the Week, even though we're playing as sort of a hacked version of it for this game, is the playbooks are just so brilliantly written, so vivid, all the ideas for the different characters. So every 10 retweets, we are going to roll 1d100, and a random effect is going to happen to one of you. We're going to go ahead and do our first one right now. It is a 5, and then I'm going to roll 1d4 to determine who gets this random effect. It is going to be Jake.
Okay.
So in our world, people have developed strange psychic powers, sometimes wild physical mutations as a result of surviving the virus that wiped out most of the world. Not everyone has these abilities, but some people do. You have gained rather recently or immediately after the beginning of the apocalypse, this power. Wow. I'm going to go with, I have 4 choices. I'm going to go with this one. You can basically control the power of alchemy. You can touch metals and turn them to gold. Specifically gold.
So I can touch metals and turn them to gold. Okay.
That's right. And if you want to try to change something large like a statue, something that much metal in it, I'd probably ask you to roll weird. But that's an ability that you have now. And we have 2 more re-rolls, one for Jake and one for Cam. The way re-rolls work is after a roll happens, if you don't like it, you can re-roll. You can also gift your re-roll to somebody else. So if you have a friend, one of our teammates is out of re-rolls and they have a really bad result, give yours to them. You can also gift them to me if you want. You can't, because I don't actually roll. I was just kidding. That's everything. Let's see if we've got one more potion. No, but we will soon. All right. Scrat, anything before we get started? Let's do it.
Good luck, everyone.
No one knows where the virus came from, whether it was hatched in some secret military facility or if it was a plague sent to Earth to punish a world that had grown fat on its own corruption. All anyone knew was that Captain Trips first appeared on Christmas Eve, 2018. And by March 25th, 2019, The world as we knew it had ended. The airborne virus started like a common flu, but within 2 days, its victims' internal organs began to shut down until eventually their hearts exploded and they died. As of right now, 99.98% of the world's population has died due to the virus and the collapse of society that followed. America is a graveyard of rotting cities and ghost towns. Corpses still litter the streets and abandoned homes. Strange psychic powers and wild physical mutations have infected many of those who survived the virus initially, and these mutations are a great source of uncomfort, anxiety, and fear for the normal, unaffected survivors. Now, there is maybe some hope on the horizon. There are rumors that 2 cities, Las Vegas and New Orleans, have become havens for survivors. And many are traveling across the country and from Canada, from Mexico, from all over, in hopes of finding food, security, and a better tomorrow. Right now, I want to return to our brother and our sister, our characters that we followed throughout this journey across America. Hi, Vicky. Welcome back. Tell us a little bit about how Celeste is doing, how you're doing, and let us know where Celeste's head is right now.
Well, I'm excited, scared, and a bit sad at the same time. So let's see where today goes. Celeste is probably staring at her brother, seeing how he reacts to the last words she threw at him at the end of last session.
Excellent.
And meanwhile, going through the book that she got on the Wendigos, trying to figure out whatever she can.
And this scene that we're about to start with, it does take place a month prior to we'll skip forward in a minute, but this is how we ended last session, with a very, very difficult conversation about to happen between a brother and a sister. And we'll get to that in a minute. But first, Scrat, tell us about Rutherford, how he's doing physically, mentally, what is going on with him right now.
Rutherford's just a mess. He's standing very tall. Probably a foot higher than anyone else around. He's got to be up in the 7 feet now somewhere. Muscle built. His body is almost definitely looking like a werewolf or Wendigo itself. But his face is still mostly normal. Like, his nose has started to transform a little bit, but other than that, his face looks normal with fangs decorating his mouth. Although, if you weren't in the middle of an apocalypse and he didn't have a werewolf's body, you might just assume that he had quite pronounced canines. Mentally, oh boy, he's a whole mess. He's done this whole thing trying to find his sister, and then put his other sister in a heck ton of trouble, and getting into a lot of trouble himself and getting hurt a lot and stuff. And he's just gonna be like reading through this letter, and I mean, I could just read the letter aloud if we wanted to do that for the audience.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and then we'll move from that into the scene here. But let's hear the letter. I don't think I've read this letter.
So the letter comes in 2 parts. I guess there's 2 sheets, and he takes the first without punching his mic. Sorry, everyone. Dear brother, 18th of February 2019. Thank you, Madrogue, for the rerolls. I'll update the overlay when I finish reading this out. Dear brother, I lied to you, and I know you have no reason to believe me now. It's time to tell the truth. Lying brought us here. I am sorry I didn't show more trust in you. I swear I saw Cassie as I told you. She guided me. Until Flag showed up. Last time I saw her, he was there with her. And she was not happy about it. She was scared. Also scared. I couldn't stand the idea of him having her, so I decided it was all his mind tricks. She must be dead, 'cause better dead than with him. I honestly don't know what's reality. The only thing I know for sure, Flag is evil and not to be trusted. And since you can't trust me, trust in science. Trust in Penny's glasses. Penny's glasses are with the letter. They showed me that he's a demon. Think of all the death he brought to the labs. No good person would do that. So I beg you, please turn around. Don't go to Vegas. Don't trust him. You are the strong one, the blessed and good-hearted one. Please don't stray from that path. Go back home, find people you trust and can help. I will try to fix my mistakes. Love you, C. Did C leave at the end of last episode? Did she drive away without us? No, you're still there.
She told you to get out of the car, yeah.
The second letter says 4th of March 2019, so a few weeks afterwards this was written. Now that I've met Cassie, talked to her, touched her, she doesn't remember being around me. Scary, but really it seems to be her. You were right all the time. She says she's in love with Flag. It sickens me. I still believe he's evil, the devil himself. So I just want to add, please, get her out of there. Away from him, far away. She might listen to you. She for sure doesn't listen to me. There is no future for us all together in Vegas near him. Maybe we can find another place to be together. Love, C. I guess I'm still holding on to Cassie as well.
Yep.
I'll calmly fold the letter with my giant mandibles and put it back in the envelope. And I'll just take out the spectacles for just a moment. I'll put them on and look at Cassie.
And with that, we'll get started here. Now, our story today is about the end of the world and what happens after, and it's also about angels and demons and werewolves and wendigos, murderous ghosts, families, brothers, sisters born by blood, and families, brothers, sisters forged by surviving adversity. It's about God himself and a devil named Randall Flagg, who rules the largest surviving city in America, Las Vegas. More than anything, though, it's about a community. It's a story that we've told together over the past 3 months with many fantastic folks from the Scratticus Academy and the TTRPG community, and it's the sum of every individual character's story. But all good stories must come to an end, and so begins our end. It's a sunny dawn on the Rocky Mountain Highway. 1 month ago, Celeste has just pulled over the pickup truck with her brother Rutherford, reading the letter, putting on the glasses, and her sister Cassie is in the truck too. Celeste has just ordered them to get out, and Cassie looks and meets Rutherford's gaze as he looks over to her, glasses on. She kicks the dashboard of the truck's interior. She doesn't look back at Celeste, but she keeps her lips pressed tightly together. Rutherford, what do you do?
I can see it is Cassie. It's not some apparitional vision or anything like that.
Roll weird for me.
Oh boy. What a way to get started. I don't have any modifiers going forward, do I?
Not currently, no. It's her. There's something else clinging to her. It's not inside of her. It's almost like it looks like an aura, but it feels like an odor. It's like something that's just drifting behind her, kind of hanging behind her. And that presence is demonic.
And then I don't think about it, because I wouldn't think to remove the glasses, but I do then turn to look at Celeste. I wouldn't be deliberately checking her with the glasses, but it would, I suppose, be a side effect of me looking at her.
I won't make you roll again. With a 14 weird, does he see anything supernatural on, in, or around Celeste?
Is that something I have to answer?
Oh yeah.
He will probably... He will see something. I'm not sure how to describe it, so I will put it in chat for you, and you can describe it the best how
That sounds great.
glasses.
So,
And as you're kind of looking at Celeste, glancing at her with the glasses, Cassie whispers, it's almost a hiss, to you, Rutherford. Let's just go. We can go on our own.
one moment, Cassie, don't be so hasty. And as I'm processing this information, looking at Celeste, what would you intend to do?
There is, as you're looking at her before she answers you, you'll notice that there's something hanging off of her too. If it's not red and hungry, it's almost a sort of light, almost a sort of divine light that just is, it's like it's just reflecting off of her skin. If you stare at her eyes a little longer than normal, you would see their color change. They become lighter, and just a little bit of light is emitted. If you were to tip the glasses down, it goes away.
Seeing this, it reminds him that he still has the glasses on, and for a moment he thinks about looking at himself, and then he thinks, that's a terrible idea. And he'll remove the glasses, being reminded that he still has them on. What would you plan to do, going on your own?
I want to talk to Flag and see if we can get her out of whatever she got herself into.
And Cassie, how do you feel about Flag?
Flag's a great man. He's saved so many lives. He'll protect us too if we go to Las Vegas, but I don't trust her. She says she wants to talk to him. I don't think that's true. I think she has something else planned, Rutherford.
That's quite possible. How... Cassie, you know that her father didn't survive. Do you mind if I stand in and ask you some questions about your lover?
Of course.
How did you meet?
He came to me just outside of New York. I thought those creatures that grabbed me and took me, I thought they were going to do something awful, but they didn't. They brought me to him. He told me about Las Vegas, the new city that he's creating. He told me how this all began, who is responsible. I guess somewhere along the way when we were traveling across the country, we just, I don't know, one thing led to another. I love him. I know that sounds crazy. I just met him, but I do. And when you meet him, when you see what he's done, you'll love him too.
Okay, so short answer, abduction.
He saved me.
Of course, he saved you, and I'll sort of look at Celeste. You're mute.
She is so short of stepping out of the car and leaving the conversation. But she's not saying anything. She's eye rolling like...
Look, if we cannot trust each other, who can we trust? I'm sure Celeste would simply like to speak to this man and get to know more of him just as I would. And if not, we are all there to make decisions as a group. Celeste, let's all go together.
I'm not traveling with her. She will shoot me again.
That is true. You did shoot Celeste. That was pretty mean, Cassie.
She drugged me, she shot me, and
Can you explain?
looking at Cassie,
Can you explain these actions?
being in love with someone, making you rage, hate against your sister, that did nothing.
Doesn't seem healthy.
It shows me that this is not right.
You're thinking about everything so small, and it's because you haven't seen. You haven't seen that there's hope in Las Vegas. There's a real future. There is. You haven't seen it. You haven't seen what he's done.
You haven't seen the whole picture, my dear. I have seen so much more than you traveling here and around the state, meeting people, hearing their stories.
Rutherford winces. This is starting to sound like their old arguments. I'm the older sister. I know more than you. And he's like, oh no. Here we
start
go.
bitching. Here we go again.
She crosses her arms over her chest and she kicks the dashboard again and she says, Celeste, I love you, but I won't let you ruin Las Vegas because you're being overprotective, because you don't understand. You could ruin everything, all of those people's lives, all of the people he saved. I'm sorry, but there's something bigger than you and me happening right now. Can't you feel that?
I'm with you on that.
Rutherford will put the glasses back on.
Wishing there were sunglasses. Oh, there are sunglasses. Kind of. I want you both safe, far away from any demon, devil, or anything bad. And we have proof that Flag is a devil.
Maybe your idea of what a devil is doesn't really add up. Have you ever thought that God might not be so great?
Oh, honey, if you would know.
This arguing, I can see it spiraling out of control. The truth is we have not seen Las Vegas. Let's go there and see what we see. Maybe it is the divine thing that everyone knows. We don't know. We've seen good shit, we've seen bad shit.
Yeah.
Let's go and see if this is as good as it really sounds.
What do you say, Celeste?
Cassie, I'll admit I'm doubtful. But I'm willing to give it a try.
I'll show you. I came back for you. Come on.
I have to bring you both to the danger I want to keep you away from.
I'm going to go either way. You can't stop me. I'm not a kid anymore, Celeste.
You're still not a little
Come
sister.
to Las Vegas, Celeste.
With that, Celeste will step out of the car, taking a deep breath. Probably stomping off a bit. Probably yelling, just like at nothing out there.
Come on, Rutherford. Let's take the car and go. Just you and me.
Cassie,
If she wants to come, she can come on her own. But we need to get back.
you're so eager to leave your sister behind. Like you say.
She just tried to kick us out. She's not going to come with us.
She'll come round. It'll be just like the old arguments we used to have. You always drive each other to frustration.
Fine. And she kind of just goes quiet and stares off through the front window.
Or at least just to sulk the same way. And Rutherford wants to get out of the car and console Celeste, but he doesn't trust that Cassie wouldn't just drive off without both of them, so he'll stay in the car.
Great.
Unless Celeste makes motion to, like, leave.
No, it
Yep.
will take some time. She will throw stones, she will yell, she will be angry, and then looking up to the sky, shaking her head, whispering, well, then let's go against what you want. And she will turn around and go back to the car.
What she do once she gets in the car?
She will peek in the car. Look at Cassie.
Cassie kind of looks over her shoulder at Celeste, and there's not much expression at all on her face. She's got her arms crossed, her legs kicked up against the dashboard, just resting there.
You swear not to shoot me or kill me before we are in Vegas?
Do you swear you'll at least hear Randall out before you try to hurt him?
We can give it a second chance. He already talked to me and it was not really what I wanted to hear.
Let's
Well, if you
not start bickering again. We all know how this is going to go. We are family. We stick together. And it seems that all of us, in one way or another, want to go to Las Vegas one way or another. So let's just go together and stop all this bickering.
He's right.
Okay.
We should go.
I will get in the driver's seat.
Turn on the car.
And turn on the car.
Rutherford is mainly keeping the glasses on because he is looking out for people that can help.
I've got you. So
We
also just got another random effect, Rutherford. This one's for you. We rolled an 18.
Oh boy.
So, oh man, this is tough. I have to choose between letting you polymorph into a warthog. No, I'm not going to pick that one. It just says explosion, and I'm going to say this: at one point, you're going to be able to make an explosion happen narratively in this episode. You're going to have to roll weird to determine how favorable the result is.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of figure it out from there. You start up the car, and you start moving back down the Rocky Mountain Highway. There's a crackle on the radio a few hours in, and you hear a voice over the radio. Welcome back, my friends, to Las Vegas Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Flag, and coming up next, we have a golden oldie, one from your childhood and mine. And as you speed through the highway with the morning light bright in your eyes, Las Vegas in your future, the radio begins to play the song, Don't Fear the Reaper. But we're going to cut away from our scene there, and we're going to move to several weeks later, closer to Las Vegas. You've moved through the state lines. Some things are the same, some things are different. Celeste and Cassie are still barely talking, but there's been no other attempts to hurt each other. Rutherford, one of the main changes for you is that your hair continues to grow white. Your fur continues to grow white. You're getting taller faster now. Your arms are getting longer too, uncomfortably long. And your nails are sharper, harder. You're also having a hard time eating, and I need you to roll me a weird. You're able to force food down, but it doesn't really satiate you very much. It tastes bad, awful, no matter what you try to eat. Even things that you once loved, like pepperoni, as I recall. Pepperoni no longer tastes good to you. You know what you want.
I saw enough at the asylum to know what's happening. I will continue to stay quiet about it though, and just keep forcing food down for sustenance.
And with a 13, we'll say you're able to do so. And a couple of weeks later, it's the truck, you've just refueled it. And as you're getting it ready to go again, move the last little bit, the last stretch into Las Vegas. And the roads here, as you're getting closer and closer to Las Vegas, Nevada, they've been cleared away. This is probably the cleanest looking area that you've seen, at least this much of the region. But it's as you're refueling and preparing to take off again that you meet Jake and Cam. This is a stretch of desert highway. And Jake and Cam will say that you find yourselves there and you see them before they see you. What are Jake and Cam doing along this highway? What are they doing right now?
Are we walking? Yeah, we're walking.
I can imagine that we've been maybe hitching rides and just kind of traveling, trying any way we can to not have to walk.
And it is a very hot day out. Maybe your car is broken down recently, the car that you're using, and you're looking for something else. But this is noon in the Nevada desert, and especially I think Jake is probably feeling the heat, the dehydration. Water is hard to come by. Real water, clean water is hard to come by. And this is probably one of the hardest days that you've had so far in the post-apocalypse in terms of your physical health. And it's there as you're walking together. Are you having a conversation about anything in particular? Do you do idle chatter between the two of you?
I would imagine.
I feel
so.
like Cam. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I feel like Cam loves to hear Jake's kind of musings about all of these different connections and things, and every time there's like a landmark, Cam would love to ask questions about, some of these human or just some of these landmarks, and ask, why would they build that, or why, so he's more of a listener, but he loves it, and he is just raptured in what Jake is saying.
Yeah. I'll happily amuse Cam in that case with the things that Jake's weird mind sees, the connections that he sees.
And what he hangs on to. Now, does he ever, let me ask you this, does he get that she is asking questions that she should probably know the answers to already?
Oh, for sure. I would think so.
Like maybe certain landmarks that you guys have passed together that along your travels, or you should know what a diner looks like, or that sort of thing.
Here's an interesting question that would have come up in the time that we've been traveling together. Jake would have noticed how out of place Cam is, obviously. And Jake would have asked Cam where Cam's from. And I'm not sure what Cam would answer to that.
I think at first, when he would have first asked that, I can imagine it would be towards the beginning of the relationship. Cam would say the very typical, not from around here, from quite far away. But I think that as they're kind of getting to know each other more, Cam is going to be dropping more and more hints to Jake that it's more far away than maybe he thinks it is.
Fair enough. Jake, he's not necessarily the type that's going to try to pry. He doesn't usually need to pry because he usually can tell a lot about a person just from looking at them. He knows, obviously, that there's more to your story than you're telling. He's happy to let you divulge it in your time. But yeah, so we're walking. I have a big overcoat, which I'm assuming I've taken off at this point.
Probably folded up and you're holding it now.
Yeah, or I'm not that facetious about how it's kept. I'm just holding on to one lapel of it and dragging it on the dirt. I have a shotgun, which is a pretty heavy weapon, and I imagine that, especially in this heat, and as dehydrated as I am, it's getting harder and harder to carry that on my shoulder where I normally would. So maybe we're walking along this road, and it's been a long time since we've seen a car, and I'm really thirsty, and I don't know. Maybe Jake starts to hallucinate. Extreme dehydration is a thing, right?
Absolutely. And looking across the road to the other side of the road, some distance away, you can see the car, but you're also seeing the distortion waves of the heat rising off of the desert sand. So there's something almost spectral about this image of a pickup truck, two young women, and a 7.5-foot tall werewolf funneling fuel into the gas tank and packing up and getting ready to move off. You can see it, but it's distorted through the heat, and you are dehydrated. I think Cam would see it as well.
Cam, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
You mean the car with, what is that? Is that...
No, I mean the palm trees and the lake.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't see that.
Oh, I see the car, yeah. There is a car there too. We should go before they drink up all the water. Those people in that car. They're obviously going to take all the water from that lake and leave none for the rest of us.
Upon seeing this, Cam is going to give Jake this worrying look and just, right, friend, let's get there. Let's get there. And are they ahead of us? Are we coming up on them?
So imagine that you're coming down off of an exit ramp, and they are at the remnants of a abandoned gas station. Few cars in the parking lot, been stripped from parts. Their car is the one that it's the pickup truck. Looks like it still works, but yeah, you're coming down this ramp, and it's right across the street from you.
So Cam, with a bit of kind of pulling/pushing Jake along, just try to help him to hurry to this place, Cam is gonna call out, "Hello? Excuse me. My friend here needs some help."
You would both hear this very easily.
Let's slow down, so let's slow down. Do I
slow down?
Do I see anything?
Roll weird.
Maybe this is the salvation we've been looking for.
I am sorry what I've created now.
I'm not, let's say, aware enough at this point, because I'm suffering from extreme dehydration. I'm not aware enough to think to maybe conceal the fact that I'm holding a shotgun. Worrying about scaring off our new friends is probably a secondary concern to finding water. So
Rutherford is there, like crossing the street. You would see a man dragging his trench coat behind him in one hand. He's got the shotgun in the other hand. Nothing pings off of Jake. However, with a 15, you see
that is a crit. That's the highest I can roll.
It's super high. So with a 15, you can see very clearly that there's the same sort of divine light coming off of Cam that comes off of Celeste, except for it's much, much brighter. And though you're still getting used to the glasses and how they work, you feel positive, your instinct and what you're witnessing, that this is some sort of angel, ghost, but definitely something of a good aligned nature.
I will. I'll be looking out the window, and when I see this, there will be elation. I'll be like, look, these two. They could be exactly what we need to lighten the mood. And I will sort of like tap Celeste's leg, like, this is what we need. This is the thing. Like.
Well, we are here to help people, so let's see where they want to go.
So
As
you
we
allow
get
them to approach him, yeah. Yep.
As we get closer and closer, I think the mirage of the lake that I thought I saw might disappear. And as soon as I realize that there is no palm trees and hot springs, it's really just a gas station and a truck and two people, I think I might drop to my knees and be like, oh no, the water's gone.
Rutherford and Celeste, you can both roll me a sharp here.
Ah, my weakness.
It is.
Could be worse.
God, where's my roll 20?
You need that.
Yeah, I have it open in one of my windows. There it is.
You've managed to pick up supplies, and you guys have gotten used to this in your travels. You've done a pretty good job of keeping up on food and water, but water's gotten more scarce. So you have some water, but not a lot. You have and they're basically found, packs of water bottles that you've just been going through like crazy. But you have, half a dozen bottles of water left. They approach you now. They're only 10 yards from your truck. Cassie scooches over in the truck to the passenger side, looks out the window at them, but then kind of goes quiet and crosses her arms and looks down again.
I think Cam would go a bit ahead of Jake while he's kneeling down. Just as you can see, my friend he needs some water. If you have any to spare, we can repay you in any way.
Yes, we can certainly give you some water. That is absolutely no problem. Come on, Cassie, come out. Let's say hello to these people. And I'll push Cassie out the door. I'm very, very excited to find new people. I imagine this last 3 weeks has been awkward.
She falls out of the door as you push her because you're much stronger than she is, and stumbles on the asphalt a couple of steps, crosses her arms and leans up against the car and kind of looks Jake up and down, Cam up and down. She lingers looking at Cam. Where are you going?
Well, we were just on our way to find the next town. And he kind of looks back. What was it called again?
Water.
Yes, I will grab one of the water bottles and I will chuck one to Jake.
I go to reach for it. I don't catch it, but then I pick it up and I start downing the water bottle.
Sorry. And then Rutherford will also step out of the car, so you probably see his size and build and definite werewolfiness properly for the first time. I imagine in the car it's quite nice because you can see as a very built person, with a reasonably normal face, but then hello.
Yeah, just
I look at the water bottle. I look at the water bottle that I just emptied, and I'm like, what was in this?
I will basically stand up and look over the car. Just, it's not in the water, no worries.
No,
And you would have You definitely would have seen mutants, so you would have seen people strangely
Right.
I don't know that you've seen anybody quite like Rutherford.
I'm gonna assume no, but I have seen mutants, and Um, so okay, so I'll stand up and say, dust the dirt off my jeans and say we were going to Las Vegas.
Excellent.
Where
Excellent.
we're headed.
That is exactly where we are going. And do not be shocked by my appearance. I have a plethora of diseases which are affecting me. But do not worry, I do not believe that any of them are contagious, but at the same time, don't let me bite you.
Is that a concern? Does he bite a lot of people?
Only when they attack him.
Only during the apocalypse.
Just the ones we can't trust, but we can trust you, right?
With all due respect, you just met me and my friend. But sure.
I'll
Maybe
look.
we should leave them, Rutherford.
Rutherford, what do your glasses say?
What glasses? Say stuffing them into my poncho.
I'll give him the big sister like.
I am sweet and innocent. What was it Cassie said?
Maybe we should leave them.
Cassie, come now. Just because you've been having issues doesn't mean we should take it out on everyone. They want to go to your haven. They are already heading there.
Who are you? If you don't mind my asking. She looks between Jake and Cam, but again, her gaze lingers on Cam.
Well, I'm Cam. We have been traveling for quite a ways to get to some sort of other people who might need our help.
What she said. He said.
See, we are all here to help each other. We are all
I'm dehydrated. I'm dehydrated.
You're seeing things.
You did drink that water awfully fast. Is your throat okay?
Uh.
We have a little more.
I'll be okay.
Jake, roll me a charm.
Seven.
After a couple of more like long kind of awkward moments of staring, she takes a deep breath and looks back to Rutherford. Well, we can take them with us, but we need to get going either way. We're close. We don't have a lot of water. And now they're coming with us. There's 5 of us.
Drive faster, little princess.
Do you think you could manage that?
We will see. Get in. Get out of the sun.
Yes, if we come across any gas stations, I can rip apart the vending machines and see if they have anything in there.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, conserve ammo.
By the way, I am Celeste. This is Rutherford, and this is Cassandra.
Cassie.
Oh boy.
Nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for helping us out.
Thanks for the water.
Well, we can't leave you out here dry, and we're going the direction anyhow.
I shake some of the dirt off of my coat. You can't ever get all of the dirt off of it, but I shake some of the dirt off of it. And load up.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Cassie hops up into the back of the truck. There is only room for 3, and it's uncomfortable with Rutherford in the front. So she jumps in the back. She's got like a hat tacked in a bag that she pulls over her head so the sun's not right in her face the entire time.
I will get in the back too.
I'll volunteer to go in the back.
I'm not contagious. There are people that can sit next to me.
There's plenty of room for two in
Cam
the
will
front.
sit.
Yeah, there's plenty of room for two in the front as long as I am not there, and you've been walking in the sun. Protect your heads.
All right, I'll get in the truck.
I think Cam would give Jake like this triumphant smile of like, here's another example of good people kind of thing.
I would also offer both of them a snack bar, just something small that we gathered, because I could imagine they're also hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And if everyone is on board, she will drive. And she will not drive faster than before. She will keep the pace.
There's a couple of times during the drive that Cassie will bang against the glass of the back window and shout at you to drive faster, but you don't speed up.
Nope. I think every time she bangs, I will probably slow down because that is what annoyed siblings do.
Excellent.
In the back,
In the back,
I'll just be like, Cassie, you know, when you do these things, it just makes things harder. Sometimes just keeping your head down, heading in the right direction. Have you ever noticed that you drive, right? Have you ever noticed that if you get right up someone's ass, they slow down?
I don't understand why I have to be the mature one here.
Well, this is the thing. No one is being mature at the moment, so it's not the only reason you'd be the mature one is because you'd be the only one. But if one of you starts being mature, you might set an example for the other, and then you're not the mature one. Then everyone is mature. Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah, fine. You're right. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. We're almost there anyways.
That's the Cassie I know, not ruffle her hair. Which she hates.
You ruffle her hair, and she kind of pulls the hat down back over her face afterwards, but you can see that she's smiling a little. Cut inside. Rutherford, make me a charm roll. What is the conversation inside on the several-hour drive that is what's left of the stretch to Las Vegas?
How did you roll that? That's the first question. And secondly, the talk, I think Celeste would A, keep an eye open for any kind of places where we could maybe find some water, and B, asking where the others came from. So where they're from, where they're born, raised, and just chit-chat. We'll also tell them that they are from up north in the New Jersey, New York region.
Roll me sharp, and I'll let you know what you find. You guys can go ahead and have your conversation.
I think that Cam would mention that he was part at some point of this kind of religious community that focused on helping travelers. It was called the Creed of Zion, and he helped them out for a little time. And if it's all right with you, maybe that's where he met Jake.
That's fine with me.
Just so, and then they've been traveling together ever since, just looking for, Cam insinuates that he is looking for a larger group of people that he could possibly help. But his help is very, very vague and kind of a little bit more, it seems very lofty.
Has Jake ever witnessed Cam help someone in need in a supernatural way?
Yes, actually, I think that would be like one of the tipping points of like, Cam is not just from up north. He's, in that he was able to heal someone seemingly just by placing his hands upon them.
Gee, I didn't think that was a Canadian trait. Well,
question.
that's cool. That gives Jake ample reason to keep trusting Cam beyond the fact that he distrusts most people. The fact that he's seen Cam be selfless.
Since I've seen a few angel beings now helping, would I get just like a feeling?
Roll me weird. And with the 9 sharp, what you'll notice is something different in particular, not helpful, but different in particular, that everything here has been stripped away. Everything's very clear. You don't see any bodies. And this final stretch to Las Vegas, the buildings have been very obviously looted, but not violently, almost in an organized fashion. You don't find any water or food this close to Las Vegas, but you do believe it's probably because whoever's living in Las Vegas has come out and repurposed the supplies from the surrounding area. And the closer you get to the city, the more that is the case. What's that weird check?
Whoa.
We're all gonna die. We're going to die. We've rolled 3 crits now. We're dead.
I'll take them early. So with a 12, I'll say this goes 2 ways. Yes, you do get the sense that there's something divine, possibly angelic about Cam, because you have, I think at this point you've probably come across 4 or 5 angels, each of them a little different, everyone distinct. But likewise, Cam, you would get the sense that there's something divine. It's almost like heaven has touched Celeste in a way, has left some sort of mark on her. You can sense that.
This world.
I actually think that Cam's face at that would pale a little bit as he kind of realizes that, and you can see his eyes just slightly widen when looking at Celeste.
At least Celeste wouldn't dig deeper. Usually she would be really curious, but she learned that if they're not willing to talk about it, it has a reason. So, on the way, she would probably warn both of you that she heard also not the best things about Vegas, that they should be careful. Just keep your eyes open there. We've heard
Anywhere where you get that much people, you need to be careful.
That's probably true.
You give people a chance to disappoint you. They usually do. They usually live up to their reputation.
I have to say, I met a lot of surprisingly good people on the way here. A lot of people are helping each other.
I'm trying to show Jake that there are as good people in the world, and I'm very glad that you said that.
You missed
Hopefully
a
there's
great...
lots of people to help.
At least some of our people tried to make their way here. Not sure if they already went here or not, so we will see.
You will see. It's a little before sunset, but already you can see the colors changing in the sky, the faint pinks at the borders as the sun begins to dip towards the desert horizon. But before you, you see Las Vegas, a city of lights and movement, activity. You haven't seen this in a long time, not since before it all began. Celeste, Rutherford, Jake. If anything, Las Vegas seems more populated now than it was before. People on the streets. You see carnivals set up on the side of the road as you're entering in large tents, people juggling fire and doing acrobatics acts, large crowds of spectators. You see what's obviously people dealing drugs or begging on the street. There's large stretches of the highway where shanty towns have been put up and tents. or hastily made shacks on the side of the road. But the crowdedness is intense. And once you actually reach the main stretch that takes you into the city, you're not just driving alone anymore. You're driving in traffic for the first time in a long time. And it's anxious traffic with honking horns and people calling out their windows to each other as these cars are moving into the city. And you're passing by these shanty towns, you're passing by the carnival, you're passing by these people who are on either side of you on the road. Several times somebody comes up and bangs on your door wearing a trench coat, holding it open and trying to sell you something, watches. This is an experience that you haven't experienced since before the world fell apart. And it's intense. You have cars behind you, Celeste, and cars in front of you. You have cars to either side. You're moving slowly through this traffic, through the throngs of people, but there's no easy way for you to get out now.
People are trying to sell us watches and things.
That's correct.
Does in this
water,
food, water, the currency?
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine gold doesn't really have value anymore.
Only if you buy it. No, food and water is the currency, and that's what they're asking. Is they're banging on the glass. They're asking for food and water, and they're trying to sell you. Some of it's expensive looking. You would notice that some of these items used to be very valuable. Now, maybe not so much.
Well, if people still place value on gold, I could maybe get us more water.
I think that Cam would start to roll down the window to give his bar that Celeste had given him to one of the people. I don't know if anyone's going to stop him from doing that, but that's what he would try. That's what he would do, but just ask for nothing in return. Just kind of open it just enough to slip the bar through. I'm
going to try to stop Cam from doing that.
How is you attempting to interrupt?
I'm just going to hold out my hand and be like, Cam, if you put that bar out there, will kill themselves for it.
But they need it more than I do.
Of course they do, but they all need it, and they can't all have it.
Cam, roll me cool. Right as he says that, you hear a banging on the window, and you see an old man with scraggly gray hair. It's mostly fallen away from the top of his head, and it's still hanging down his shoulders. He's wearing clothes that he's probably worn for a month or longer, and he's clawing at the edge of the windows. He's not trying to get in, but he's trying to hold on to the car as it moves so he can keep up with it. It's kind of dragging him along, and if your eyes catch his for a second, you could hear and read his lips enough to see that he is saying, help me.
You can see there are tears coming to Cam's face as he looks at you and looks at the man. Just one bar.
Jake pulls out the bar that they gave him, which he's half eaten at this point, if I'm being honest. And says, now it's 1.5 bars. And he gives the half bar to Cam to give to.
So Cam's going to put it through the window, and hopefully the man takes it.
He does. He takes it, and he grips your hand afterwards. You can feel his hand, though it's bony and frail, squeeze your hand. He's, thank you. Could I come with you, please? Please. Are you going to the city?
I'm sorry. There's nothing more I can do. You see for an instant that Cam, as he grabs his hand, there's like this tiny little flash of bright light, and he wants to do a lay on hands to
Absolutely.
heal any injury or disease.
All right. So I believe with divine, you roll. Is it weird or is it cool?
Cool.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me cool.
Okay.
So with a 7, you take you're able to heal him, and you can actually feel a little bit of weight return to him. You see understanding in his eyes. You see tears in the corners of his eyes, and he mouths again, "Thank you," as you take 2 of his harm onto yourself.
And you can see that Cam lets go and gives him a nod and rolls back up the window, and Cam just kind of coughs. And you can see that in his hand is a little tiny bit of blood, but he rubs it off on his pants.
The old man stands on the side of the road watching you go by. You lose sight of him as other cars behind you pull in front of him, and in the sight, the eye line is broken. In the back of the truck, Rutherford, Cassie is stood up and walked over to the very, very back side. She's taken off her hat. You can see several individuals, not everyone, but several individuals break away from the side of the roads and reach out to her with their hands. They'll call her mother. She reaches out and touches them back, just briefly. It's like it's something you would see out of a grotesque version of like a British royalty addressing the people, is like a parade.
I will come and stand behind her and put my hands on her shoulders. These are your people, Cassie?
They're our people, Rutherford. And as she says that, one of the men, who's a little bit taller, a little bit younger, able to keep up with the car for more time as it moves and the traffic thins out a bit, starts to pick up speed, he'll reach out for your hand, Rutherford, and he'll say, "Uncle."
Okay, that's weird. They are hungry. They are in pain.
They've been waiting for you, for us. Things are going to be so much better soon. Now that you're here.
What is it about me that makes... What are they waiting for exactly?
Well, Randall's going to change the world. He's going to create America again. But he needed all of us to do it. That's just the way it is now. She looks up at you. Roll me sharp. She means what she says, but there's something in her eyes. You've not seen Cassie believe so hard in something, and she believes very hard that this is true.
Excuse me, Cassie. Although all of my muscles have been improving since the disease, my eyes have not. I put the glasses back on again. I just look across the crowd.
You roll me weird.
It tells me those glasses aren't just ordinary glasses.
I've got a ton of rerolls, so I can afford to spend one now.
You don't have to see the connections and everything to see that.
There we go.
With the reroll, with an 11, you look across the crowd and it's normal people. There's little pings here of darkness or light, similar to what you've seen in Celeste, but even less so. But you don't sense anything overtly supernatural about these people. They just look like poor people trying to survive in a hard world. And you're moving to the end of the shanty town now. The people do stay behind. They do break away almost respectfully. Some of them actually get down on their knees and they bow as you're driving off. You're extremely hungry, but with an 11, you're aware of it and you're able to stay in control. But right now, you have -2 forward to all of your rolls.
Oh, I knew that was coming. The person running alongside the car who called me uncle. Can I grab him by the scruff and put him in the truck with us?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy. You're super strong, and he's tall, but he's not a beefy guy. And he almost, like, as you pull him up, he grabs onto your arm and pulls too, and is like ecstatic that you're pulling him up into the truck with you. The rest of the crowd gasps, and that's when they all drop down and begin bowing and waving to you as you drive off past the shanty town towards what will take you to the main strip of Las Vegas, where you'll find, you can see it now that it's sunset. The lights of the casinos are already turning on.
You two in the car would see that Celeste is struggling. She's struggling between she wants to stop and help, similar than Cam probably. At the same time, seeing what is happening in the rearview mirror and is angry, weirded out. This is so wrong. So she's really stopping to talk to you, really focused on herself and looking around and slowing down, but then deciding to speed up a bit as best as she can, and in the end trying to get out of here.
And it is starting to thin out, like I said. So you're actually able, if you want, you can start pulling in front of other cars. You can sort of choke your way up further in this line. If you're driving aggressively, make me a cool check.
Let's see. My sister wanted that we go faster, so let's do that.
What is going on with these rolls?
Roll 20 is freaking me out, which is great.
Celeste, you swerve very aggressively, but without bumping into any of the cars. And it's almost as if the cars, as you get close, are slowing down and making room for you, letting you get further ahead in line. You're speeding along now, leaving behind the crowd, city lights ahead of you. Rutherford, the figure that you've pulled up, this young man, once he's up there, he throws his arms around you, at least tries to, and just a great big bear hug.
Okay. Look, you call me uncle. Why?
You're the brother of our mother.
Yes.
You're Rutherford. We've been waiting for you.
And what is it exactly you've been waiting for?
Well, everyone knows that once you're here, once all of you are here, we'll finally be able to expand. The world will heal, the grass will grow, things will change, the virus will be gone.
Okay.
Everyone knows.
Okay.
And he's hugging you tighter and tighter and tighter.
Okay, well, I'm going to start pulling him off now. I'm going to grab the back
Can
of
I
his shirt.
overhear this? Or
Yeah,
am I
do we
unable
hear
to
that?
hear it in the cabin?
You have the window rolled down, right, from the bar. I would say you can all hear this conversation.
So, since I can always tell if someone is lying, does this crazy person believe what he's saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rutherford, roll me sharp.
You see, by the way, that I'm gripping the wheel tighter and tighter, really fighting with what I'm hearing.
You're able to push this man off of you, Rutherford. Before you do, you feel something. It's the thump, 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 thump of his pulse, his neck against your chest as he's wrapped in this bear hug. You can feel it.
I will resist that. You have a wonderful heartbeat. Celeste, can you slow the car down just a little bit?
Why?
I hold him over the side. I'm like, start running.
Okay. I will basically stop that you can set him down.
There you go. Be safe. Don't get eaten by anyone. Anything. Be safe.
And as you pull off and the car picks up again, he's on the side of the road. He's smiling up at you. He's holding onto your arm as you're pulling away for as long as he possibly can. And he grips your fingers until you finally break away. And then he just stands there in the street for a moment staring at you, and he too gets down on his knees and bows.
I think as he's gripping my hand, my nails almost certainly draw blood from his palm. And I'll try and surreptitiously just...
All right, roll me weird. He doesn't seem to mind, by the way.
Oh, well, that's good. He doesn't seem to mind. Well, that's a relief then, you know. What is with these rolls?
Tastes good. Your forward doesn't get any worse or any better. You're able to do this without losing your mind.
Good.
I think for the first time you would see. Sorry. I think for the first time you would see Cam or Jake. For the first time you'd see Cam give you just this weird look, just kind of confused. A break from this terminally delightful look that he normally has. And he would turn to Celeste and put his hand on her shoulder. Is everything all right? Have you been here before? Do you know these people?
We haven't been here before, at least not Rutherford and I. And Jake would know I'm telling the truth.
She has.
Cassie has been here. The guy that runs the town married her. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm afraid so.
I think she knows more than she's telling.
Definitely, but she's not telling. She wants to go back here, and honestly, I'm as surprised as you guys on what is happening here.
Fortunately, she doesn't need to tell.
I have to see how this goes. I will...
So, Don, I'm going to use one of my 3 questions.
All right.
Specifically the one that says, is this person more connected to the events than they're letting on?
And you're asking this specifically about Cassie.
Yeah.
So you've observed enough behavior, this sort of interaction with the crowd being part of it, but also you happen to catch her looking back at Rutherford a couple of minutes ago. What you saw in her eyes was the sort of zealotry that is rare in the world, and that says a lot. Even religious fanatics don't have the level of madness in her eyes that she seemed to have. And you get the sense that afterwards, as she returns to her previous position in the truck, she's so totally calm as everything is happening, as they're moving forward. She doesn't look anxious. She's not looking forward. She's just watching the sun set. And you feel strongly that, yes, she is more connected. And moreover, she knows exactly what's happening and what is going to happen.
Noted. I will pocket that piece of information and pull it out when it most serves me best.
Cam, Jake, actually everybody can do this. Roll me sharp.
Everyone outside the truck as well?
Yeah, you can roll me sharpshoot.
Everyone was gifted a re-roll earlier, by the way. Mad rated it when I was doing the monologue about things, so we each have a re-roll. You can use a re-roll on any dice that hits the table. It doesn't have to be your own. Whenever a dice hits the table, you can call for a re-roll.
So we have a failure, or no failures, but we have a 7 and an 8 from Cam and Celeste, 11 and 10 from, well, no, that's actually an 8 for Rutherford. It's just Jake that happens to notice the full of everything before it happens. You see, before everyone else sees, that several armored cars, the sorts that would protect banks, transfer the money from one location to the next, begin to pull out behind you and off the side streets. Some of these cars have guns mounted to the top, individuals perched up there in these sort of man-made contraptions. Other individuals, all dressed in what looks like hotel security uniforms, are coming out of buildings on the side of the street as you pass, and they're not shooting at you, but they're all heavily armed and they're all watching you, and they begin to fill in the street behind you. It's almost as though they're following behind you as you progress down this road.
I got a bad feeling about this. Can it be safe to assume that I would have had an opportunity at some point in my travels to stop at like home hardware or like a hardware store?
Yeah, what in particular?
A pocket full of metal washers.
This is the modern day equivalent of like D&D ball bearings.
Well, they're not exactly ball bearings, but they round washers, like metal washers.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
In the palm of my hand become gold washers.
Oh.
And now they look like gold coins.
I love it.
Is there still a large, well, I know you said they were thinning, but are there still populace around us, like people?
You seem to be going through a stretch where you see some buildings that have lights on the inside. There might be people living. It's definitely less squalor here. This is the downtown area that you're moving through. You've seen a couple of smaller casinos that definitely have individuals hanging outside, lights on the inside. But you're past the sort of shanty town and all of the mass of people that were surrounding you as you're coming in.
All right, I'll just put one hand into my pocket of gold washers and jingle them around, and then I will point out to all of my unfortunately less observant compatriots that we are being surrounded by armed cars.
And at that point, everybody else too does realize it as well.
I'll lean
The
forward.
cars.
I'll lean
You
forward
first.
to the... No, actually, you first. I'm changing my mind as I say things. You first.
Okay. I will just mutter to myself. Don, they look like the car we've driven ourselves for some time, right?
Some of them do, yeah.
Well, that seems to be our guard that we get saved to flank.
You know these people, Cassie?
No, you're not telling us.
We've been attacked by cars like these. They kidnapped friends from us, and we got one of the cars for ourselves for some time. But I guess since they are not attacking and we're in the middle of Vegas, they are making sure we get where we have to go.
Do you know who
I
they are?
honestly don't know where that is. I guess we will meet Mr. Flag there, who's running the town. And these are his people. I'm eyeing the rearview mirror and seeing if Cassie is still relaxed, because that would give me the sign that, hey, she knows.
Roll me a sharp check. And Rutherford, what are you doing?
I will just say to Cassie... These people have attacked us on the road before, Cassie. Are they friends?
Yes, They're Las Vegas, just like we are. Celeste, she looks totally at ease currently. But you will notice with a 10 that the angles and rhythm at which these vans are pulling behind you, the people are coming out of the street, it's almost like you're being funneled forward down a specific path. You notice it at once because you have to choose right now whether you turn right or left at a T intersection downtown, and you can see to your left an empty road appearingly. The street ends when you can see a bright light shooting out of something up into the sky. And on your right are several of those armored trucks mounted with guns blocking that way. It would be difficult to get past them.
I tap Celeste on the shoulder and I say, which way do you want us to go?
I guess we don't have a choice.
Oh, sorry, Celeste, I got your names mixed up. Cassie, I want to know which way Cassie wants us to go.
Sorry, chose quite similar names.
Well, if you want to talk to Randall, then you should go to the Luxor. That's where he lives. That's where I live, too.
Which is left or right?
Oh, it's left.
That's where the armored cars are, isn't it?
The armored cars are blocking off the right path. And again, Celeste, you feel strongly driving that it's like you're being funneled. You can choose to go along with it, or you can try something else.
She will go along with it, and also the ones, at least in the car, will see she's relaxing now. She's just getting calmer, less emotional, and just driving on exactly the way it's pointed out.
You see at this point, streets as you're passing by, posters tacked up on walls and on the sides of buildings all over the place. A lot of posters with Randall Flagg's face on it, with his name on it. This is a man who has a mullet but of curly hair, wears a blue jean jacket, and it has just a big smile on one half of his face that sort of dies on the other half of his face. It's like a hungry smirk. And you see a few different, words accompanying these posters. They say things like, in Flag we trust, believe in Flag, Flag wants you. It's one with him pointing directly forward, reminiscent of Uncle Sam. Just a lot of Flag posters everywhere. There's more people now watching you from windows as you're passing down the street. You can see them pointing down at your car. And if you're going left, Celeste, then you will see in the distance the Luxor Hotel. This is on the main strip. It's one of the major hotels in Las Vegas. This has a large pyramid with a Sphinx statue on the outside of it, a large fountain where red water shoots up from below, and from the top of that pyramid shines a blue light that just goes straight up into the sky. This is the casino itself. Every once in a while, as you're passing by, getting closer to the Luxor, that blue light turns red, flickers a little bit, and then turns blue again.
I will just side-eye Cam and Jake. Are you curious enough to meet the master himself?
I think at this point we should at least hear what he has to say before we decide to fight our way out the other way.
He seems like the people have a lot of trust in him.
Mm-hmm.
But the posters make me wary. I saw a lot of ads and posters like that before the apocalypse of leaders and corruption, and it's very, very similar.
Or just to warn you guys, he's not human, so he's using his powers, I guess.
What do you mean, not human? You can see that Cam kind of knows the answer, but he's just wants to hear it from you.
He has supernatural powers. He played a lot of mind tricks on us. And I'm still not sure what he did to my sister, because that is not my sister. That's not how we raised her. And, well, he's getting...
Well, if you want to find out what he did to your sister, there's only one way to do that. It's by going to see him.
That's why we are here. And I will look at Cam and pointing, like, downwards. His powers come from there. Cliche, like
Cam.
hell is down and heaven is up.
Cam's eyes just kind of widen and nods. We will help you in whatever you need.
I hope that we can help a lot of people. Because this looks so wrong.
In the back.
Rutherford. Oh yeah.
Rutherford is he's writing on the back of one of Celeste's letters with a piece of dirt or something that he found.
Do you want to hold on to what he's writing, or do you want to share it now?
No.
Absolutely. Roll me a sharp, Rutherford.
Do you want me to do this at more of a disadvantage because I'm focusing on writing?
No, just -2 is good. He's already not very sharp.
That's a 6.
You want to re-roll?
No.
Okay. You're driving closer to the Luxor. The sun has set now. All that's left is a purple glow in the sky. And again, that blue light shooting up from the top of the pyramid turns red, flickers, and then slowly fades back to blue. You can see now something in the distance. Bonfires set out in front of the palm trees in the area, the parking lot out front of the casino. You can't really tell what's going on, but there's a lot of people gathered out there. But you don't get close enough before everything goes to hell. Those vans behind you, Rutherford, open up fire with automatic assault rifles. People perched, pulling out of the windows. They open up fire onto your car, and as you're distracted, looking down, I need everyone to roll me tough.
Oh, goodness.
Ooh.
All right. And Jake.
Oh.
I'm gonna use a reroll.
I'm gonna use my reroll.
I'm
Use your reroll.
gonna start putting the -2 in the going forward as well, so we can actually just see the result rather than. Yeah.
Do it manually. Perfect. And then is that the reroll was an 8 for Jake as well?
It looks that way. Yeah, not much better, but 2 points.
Celeste, you're able to, you hear the gunfire and react immediately to it. You're used to driving under pressure like this. Roll me cool regardless.
Sadly so. Cool. I will re-roll that one.
Cam, you react instinctively as though you feel that something's about to happen a moment before it does. You get down, you hear the window shatter in front of you as the truck is riddled with bullets. Celeste, are you sticking with a 5?
Have one more, Ryan. Yeah, what the hell? I will re-roll again. Let's see, but I think roll 20 made up its mind. No, didn't. Okay.
You are able to keep the truck going even as one of the wheels gets shot out and you almost pull over, you almost roll, but you manage to straighten out and stay going. Rounds litter the truck, the windows shatter. Jake, you're shot in the shoulder, the left shoulder. 2 harm.
How, I'm reading my sheet here and it says I can use luck to reduce all harm from an injury.
That's right. So you can use you have 2 luck. So you can use one of them if you don't want to take harm.
And what happens when I've used them all? It says doomed on the sheet. What does that mean?
Oh, whatever.
We never got that far. We will see.
Okay, well, I'm going to use one to avoid getting shot because I saw this going to hell in advance and I got out of the way.
You
Would
do.
Cam
It's
be
just
able
a little
to
bit of your...
cover? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think Cam, as soon as he realizes what's going on, he's going to try and cover Jake and Celeste if they're, just try to protect them as much as he can.
So if Cam pulls Jake down and Jake already has a sense of things, it's just a little bit of his shirt. Like it grazes and tears open the fabric of your shirt, but it doesn't actually hit your arm. Rutherford, you are protected. You're protected by Cassie. She explodes, her eyes wide. You can tell that she looks shocked. And as she throws herself in front of you, so you manage to avoid all harm, but she takes 3 harm as several rounds hit her and she falls back into you. This is what we call initiative in Monster of the Week. The way this works is I pick who starts off, and when your turn is over, you pass it off to someone else. You get to choose who you pass initiative off to, and once we've gone all the way around, we start back at the top. We're going to start with, I think, Rutherford.
Rutherford will just try and protect Cassie.
All right, so there's an action here called Help Out. Roll me cool.
Oh, why do I always play into my weaknesses? That has the -2 built in.
Okay, I was about to ask. Okay, so you cover her with your body. It's not a smart cover. You don't get down. You're standing up in the back of this truck, so you're very exposed. But it's something out of panic, Rutherford, as you can feel her body shivering and shaking, convulsing as she's sort of going into maybe shock, something. She's just been shot several times. And she too burrows into your torso as though she were trying to climb inside of you for protection. But you are able to basically shield her from the outside. Roll me tough. You are riddled with more bullets. You will only take 2 harm.
I have 1 armor and I'm immortal.
So these are assault rifles, so they go through your armor, but the immortal, you reduce it to 1, right? So you only take 1 harm then.
Okay, I am at 4. Did we get our health back at all in the week's driving?
I already marked it on your sheet. Yeah, I marked you back to 3 instead of at 6 and 5.
Oh, thank you. So that'll make me unstable again and hurting.
All right, that's your turn. Who do you pass it off to?
I will pass it off to Camry. Actually, the angel. I saw the angel will help us in my glasses. So Camry, please, can you help us?
I think Cam is going to hear these gunshots and just look in the cab to make sure everyone's all right. And then he's going to turn his attention to the box. With the truck, is there one of those middle panel windows? Or...
this is a pickup truck, so no middle panel window, but there's one basically between you and the bed in the back of the truck. It's been blown out.
Okay. Yeah, so he's able to reach into the box from where he's sitting. That's how close is Rutherford and Cassie to that to the cab?
They're standing pretty much in the center right now of the bed. You trying to pull them in?
He's more trying to be able to just reach them so he can kind of touch them and protect them and do a lay on hands on one of them.
Absolutely. I'll roll me sharp and then roll me your lay on hands.
Okay. That's for my sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So as you're stretching, reaching back, you pull your hand back because you see from a window in one of these buildings up above the pinpoint red light of some sort of sniper rifle. And for a moment, that red light is right in your eyes. And you pull back, the shot goes out, it hits the back of the truck, bends the metal right behind your head. But afterwards, you're able to reach out and you are able to grab onto, who are you trying to touch here?
Probably Rutherford first, because he looks like he's trying to protect Cassie. So
yeah, and he's easier since he's kind of wrapped himself around her. He's much larger.
Yeah.
You take some of Rutherford's pain onto you. Roll me weird. You take 2 harm, and Rutherford, you heal 2 harm.
Thank you very much. Heal 2, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I am stable.
We'll get to what your weird means next turn. So are you continuing to reach out and hold on to him after you touch him initially?
Yes, yeah. He is just holding on to him in case he needs any more help, as well as just kind of trying to stay in between the cab and the box to whoever needs it. And I think I'm going to pass it off to Celeste.
All right, Celeste.
Is there any way to go with the car as quick as possible, since I was not driving the fastest?
Are you trying to go off
us
onto like a side street?
Yeah, just trying to get us away from these cars.
So the easiest way to get away from them would be to drive forward towards the parking lot of the Luxor, where you can see these bonfires being lit. If you don't want to go towards the Luxor, you could try to break through them or weave around them. It's up to you. Either way, I'll ask you to roll me cool.
She will go for the easiest way, basically, straight.
Forward.
Full forward.
All right.
Cool. I have no reroll left, right?
You roll me tough.
So weird. I'm sorry, guys.
This is fine!
Although I leveled up, I was waiting for that one. Tough.
Everyone else can roll me tough as well.
Oh, very relevant, very relevant. Michael Wayne did use the scrap pound currency to give +1 to Celeste.
Oh, to give +1. That's right.
So that will
That is right.
help out that 6 a bit.
So it's a 7?
Okay, so that's the 7.
God, I'm not leveling up. No, it's all good. We'll take a 7.
Let's get a tough from Jake and from Rutherford as well. We just got another reroll for Celeste.
Thank you.
I missed it with the donut coming in. Was that me rolling a tough again?
I got
That's
an 8.
right.
Yeah, that'll do.
Perfect. Everyone except for Celeste will take 1 harm as another rain from all sides of bullets showers the truck. You're able to stay down, but each of you is grazed or shards of glass cut across your face. Rutherford, you don't take any harm because of your immortal ability, so this is just Cam and Jake. With the 7 instead of the 6, you don't flip the truck, but just before you get to the edge of the parking lot, you have to pull, and your tires, another tire bursts as you slide to you almost figure eight to a halt. You're able to get the brakes locked down without flipping, but you don't think this truck is going anywhere, and these other cars are still coming in behind you. Are you going to try to stay in the truck and get it going on your next turn, or are you going to start making a break for it? Or are you going to fight back?
How many trucks are there behind us?
8. The two-sided street, 4 now rows on either side.
She would try to get the truck going again.
Okay. And that means it's Jake's turn. How's Jake looking?
Well, he only has one harm.
Okay.
So he's sitting there poking a hole through his shirt and being like, this, that was close. He saw this coming. The minute he saw those trucks before anyone else did, he knew that what was going to go down. He's tempted to do something about it. Before he does anything, I want to ask. Let's see. I'll ask Cam I'll ask Cam for his advice. Cam, what do you think I should do? I got 2 options. I got a couple options, but what do you think I should do?
We should get out of here, but you know me, I don't think we should hurt them. But let's just focus on getting out and getting to safety.
Do you think I should stay in the car?
Cam just starts shaking his head first, just unsure, but then, no, we should go. And he's looking to Celeste for, I guess, reaffirming of that.
Okay. So Cam said that I shouldn't stay in the car, that I should go. So I'm going to do the exact opposite of that because I get bonuses for doing the opposite of what people tell me to do. I'm going to stay in the car and try to get this car started again. We've lost a wheel, right?
Yeah, you've lost 2 wheels to this point. But if you want to try to help, how does he help? Does he stay in the car and help, or does he get out and help?
I have to stay in the car to get that bonus. So,
okay.
When I act exactly opposite of somebody's advice, I get +1 to any moves on a pursuing course.
Roll me a cool check.
I make a cool check?
Mm-hmm.
With a +1?
That's right. So when it gives you the prompt, just type 1 in the prompt.
3.
I'll gift a reroll. I'll gift a reroll.
Okay.
Okay. 4. Okay, so here's what he does.
You tried.
I climb over into the back seat. I pull out my shotgun to aim out the window, out the back window that's blown out at the guys that are following us. And I go to reload my shotgun, but I drop the the shells onto the floor of the inside of the car. Now I'm fishing around for them, and I think that probably uses up my turn.
As you're fishing around for the shells, we'll say that Celeste next turn, it's going to be harder to do anything with the car because he's like digging around at your feet. You're going to have to like push him out of the way. So you'll have -1 on any rolls you make in regards to the car next turn, Celeste. That's the end of round. That's the end of round 1. Rutherford, it is your turn once again.
I'm not sure I'll have time in my one turn to do everything that I want to do. But what I would like to do is take Cassie, rip the roof off the cab, and put her in the cab with everyone else. And then go and fling myself at the oncoming armored cars.
Roll me a tough.
Re-rolling.
All right.
Because that doesn't include the -2 either. Thank you, Dan. This one will include the -2. Oh boy.
You have one left, right?
I just got gifted another reroll, yeah. Yeah, to
It's
hell
up to
with
you.
it. To hell with it. That's a 7.
You rip the top of the roof off. It sounds like a dying creature. The shrill of metal tearing away from metal. You all experience this roof go right over your heads as Rutherford throws it off to the side, and he throws Cassie down into the front. She probably lands like on top of Jake as he's digging around for his shotgun shells. She's bleeding. She's bleeding pretty badly. And then, Rutherford, you're turning around and jumping off the back and rushing towards the cars.
Drawing the fire.
And with your negative consequence of rolling a 9 instead of a 10, you do take another round of assault rifle shots for 3 harm, which I think is reduced for him to 2 harm.
Can I use my luck to avoid that?
Absolutely.
I knew you'd say that. Terrifies me.
All right, you're not to them yet, but you're rushing directly towards these armored cars. Who are you passing your turn off to?
I'll pass my turn off to Celeste. If Celeste looks at Cassie as well, she'll see that there is a crumpled note stuffed into her jacket. Bloodstained.
Mm-hmm. Do I have the chance to read the note and still do something, or would it take all my action, basically?
How long is the note? Is it a pretty short note?
About 2 or 3 paragraphs. Probably not 6 seconds reading.
Yeah, I would say you could read it, but that would be your action.
She would just grab the letter. She would just grab the letter. She will not read it. She would just grab the little letter, pocket it, and she will be stupid enough to get out of the car and follow her brother. The typical thing.
Leave the car behind. So roll me tough.
Do I have the chance to do something? Or is leaving the car all? I have
What are you trying to do?
nice things. I would pull a grenade and throw it at one of the cars, the closest one, basically.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me tough. Unless you have, do you have a thing that lets you use cool instead of tough?
Nope.
No. Okay.
And I will use a reroll on that and see how it works.
All
Are
right.
we just all terrible at tough rolls? Rutherford isn't, right? Rutherford is good.
He's pretty good too.
I have a +2, usually it's good. And honestly, yeah, well... Why did I use all my luck? Almost all my luck. Let's see. Yeah, at least it's a 9.
Are you sticking with a 9?
Yeah.
You throw the grenade, throw it far, it bounces down the street, right in the direction of one of these cars and in the direction of Rutherford. It doesn't go off yet. Are you continuing to rush towards them, or are you staying by the truck?
I would rush towards Rutherford and also yell that he should get out of the way.
All right. Who do you pass your turn off to?
To Cam.
Cam?
So you said that we were kind of in a car park? Is that where we are right now?
You're at the edge of the out front parking for the Luxor Hotel in Casino.
Cam wants to grab Cassie and take her into, and get out of the car and take her like into the car park area, if that's possible.
You're moving towards the crowd of people and the bonfires on the other side, towards the hotel itself. Absolutely.
Yeah, away from the trucks.
Roll me. Are you just trying to pull her along and go as quickly as you can, or are you trying to do it and protect her, even if it means you go slower?
He's gonna try and protect her, even if it means they're going slower. Like, probably, I almost imagine that he's almost trying to carry her or support as much of her weight as he can.
Roll me cool. You are able to protect her, but you are moving pretty slowly. And how is Cam looking at this point?
Very bad. He's breathing pretty hard, but he's trying to hide it.
Has he ever experienced being this close to whatever comes next for angels?
No, but he's trying to think of the other people right now and not on his fear that is growing.
Is he... So he is afraid. Roll me tough. Another shower of bullets goes out all around you, to the left, to your right. You're stumbling as you're trying to pull Cassie along, and you pull left, and something at one moment compels you to pull right. And as you swerve, it's almost like these bullets are missing you by sheer luck, but maybe it's not luck. Maybe it's something more than luck.
And meanwhile, he's like whispering to Cassie, it's okay, it's all right, just hang in there.
She looks up to you, her body's shaking, she's stumbling forward as well as she can, but she's a young, not particularly strong human girl, about 20 years old. And when she looks up at you, you hear just under her breath, before she spits up a little bit of blood, "I thought he loved me."
And like, yeah, you see the hurt in Cam's eyes as he kind of, I imagine that he's very empathic and that he can almost feel her pain. And all he says is just, "I'll make sure you're safe."
You can see now, as you're getting closer to the edge of the car park, those bonfires, palm trees, and something else nailed to the palm trees in the yard, like maybe some sort of wooden plank. You can't quite make out what it is, but it's almost like somebody has connected the palm trees to one another with some sort of flat surface. And you're getting closer and closer. You can see and feel the eyes of the crowd quietly watching you approach. But that's the end of your turn, and it's now Jake's turn.
What time of day is it?
Sunset, twilight.
Okay, well, I grab the shotgun shells that were on the floor and I load them into the gun. And then I jump out of the car. Did I hear correctly? There's a crowd of people nearby?
So in front of the Luxor, the edge of the car park there, a number of bonfires set up and people surrounding the bonfires, some sort of platform, some sort of raised platform out in front. And as you're looking forward to the bonfires and the people, you see that light up at the top of shooting up at the top of the pyramid, goes red for a second again, and then fades back to blue.
How close are this crowd of people to where I am?
You used your turn, and you don't get shot, then you could almost get to them.
But they're not looking this way or paying attention. They're more distracted by the light.
They're you could see that they seem like they're turned towards you, but they're not actively doing anything. They're very passively watching and standing. Spectators.
Got it. We're still being shot at. I want to take the handful of gold coins in my pocket and just throw them into the air as a distraction.
Are you throwing them towards the cars behind you, towards the people in front of you?
I'm throwing them at the. I want to say I'm throwing them in such a way as to hopefully get the people in front of me to move between us and the cars in attempts to get these gold coins.
I love this. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to roll me 4 check. I want a cool, I want a charm, and I want a tough, and then we'll see if I need that 4th check or not.
Okay, cool. Let's be cool here. 6. Time
You
to
have
be
a
sharp.
reroll that just came in. And
I have a reroll?
You have 1 reroll that just came in.
All right, I'll reroll that. Cool.
Thank you very
10.
much, everyone. Now we each
Way more.
all have 1 reroll again, except for Celeste who has 2 and Don who has 3. This is fine.
Oh, I do.
Let's see. I'm pretty cool. I'm not that charming.
Okay.
Tough is my worst stat, apparently. And you wanted a 4th roll, so what are we doing? 4th roll?
Are we sticking with the 6 and the 4? Are we using your last reroll or a
Oh, I
luck
have
on
one
of
more
those?
reroll?
It just came in.
We just
Yeah.
got another donation. Now everyone gets another reroll.
So I have 2 rerolls.
You have 2 rerolls.
The charm is getting rerolled.
Okay.
You have
So a
3
10
rerolls
cool,
now.
11 charm, and the tough is getting rerolled. Okay. I got a 10 cool, 11 charm, and a 10 tough. I have no more rerolls. And what's my 4th roll?
We just got
There
another
is no-
reroll come in. 1 for me, 1 for Cam, and 1 for Jake.
All right. So let's get it. Scrap, will you give us the numbers real quick? I know you have them. So don't need a 4th roll. With 3 successes, you rush forward, gold coins in hand, and you throw them up in the air and make a spectacle of it. They rain down and jingle on the ground, and some of that crowd up ahead of Cam, like first they're hesitant to move, but some of them break away, and once a couple of them break away, rushing towards you and the pile of gold more due to, you can see now that whatever they were doing, whatever their purpose was, the promise of resources in a very low resource world is too much for them. They're desperately grabbing onto them. They're fighting with each other. They're not overly violent, but it's sort of madness for a moment. But you do break up much of the crowd.
Does that also distract the people shooting at us?
No. They seem intent on what they're doing, but you do break up the crowd ahead.
I used the chaos of the broken up crowd ahead to try to, weave through it and get away from the people shooting at us.
And you do, you push ahead of the crowd and continue to move forward. You're almost caught up with Cassie and Cam now, and you hear another round of gunshots go off behind you. You hear a couple of cries from the crowd that's gathering coins up off the ground. If you were to look back, you would see a couple of bodies there on the ground and people stepping over them, still going for the coins. It doesn't seem to be the best moment.
I don't look back. I don't look back.
Sometimes that's best. That's the end of your turn. We are up to round 3 and Rutherford.
How many armored trucks?
You've got 8 armored trucks.
Jeez.
coming up on you. You see the grenade bounce between you and the trucks, which you're almost up upon. They're still firing. They're still opening fire. You're moving as quickly as you can. You're fast. That's probably the only reason why you're still alive. You hear Celeste call out sounds like a warning or something behind you, but I don't know if you can hear her or not.
I would jump over the first truck, or try to. Or maybe dodge around it if that's easier. And try and slam into the second truck. And try and block the path of the rest.
You're trying to tip it towards the center of the street?
I'm just going to shoulder check it and hope that something good happens.
Roll me cool and then a tough.
Apparently I'm feeling very cool. Hang on a minute, that's only a 9 though because of the -2. I'm gonna go for a reroll on the tough check.
So that's a 9 and a 7? Okay.
Go for a reroll on the tough check. I'm gonna go for I'm gonna use my luck to make that a 12.
On the tough? So you have one reroll left. You got a 12 on the tough and a 9 on the cool.
Yeah.
Roll me weird.
8.
I'm gonna use one of my rerolls on that. You using a luck?
You should still have some.
I've got so much, but I've been holding it. Yeah, I'll use a luck. It's fine. That's fine.
It's last game.
This is the last session. This is what you were hoarding it for.
I know, but still. I use the luck.
You try to jump over and swerve around the first of the two upcoming vehicles. It does clip you pretty hard. It throws you back for a second. You spring up and you rush forward. You're able to avoid gunshots. You take 2, but you shrug them off. Your skin's hard enough. Your flesh is thick enough. You don't take any harm from that. You will take 3 from actually getting hit by the armored truck. But then you slam into the side of the second one, and with what was it, an 11? Or no, it's a 12.
Yeah,
so with a 12, you slam into the side of the second row of trucks, and you send it sprawling forward over onto its side. It crashes into the truck beside of it, and that one spins and crashes into the wall of the nearby building. Its wheels are spinning in the street. The 2 behind it both turn. Roll me another cool check.
Use one of my rerolls.
Thank you.
God on Earth, roll 20.
I'm
You
gonna
leveled up by now, didn't you?
Are you using another luck?
No, because I've been using luck to stave them off. I'll use another reroll rather than another luck.
Okay. Excellent.
Doom, Scrooge. Doom till you die.
The 2 trucks behind the row, the 2 that you just knocked and crashed into each other, swerve around, and they drive up onto the curb, and they both move around. It doesn't look like the 4 trucks behind you are going to be stopped by your blockade that you just created in the street. You managed to at least slow down 2 of the trucks and knock one of them over. That's your turn. What's Rutherford doing in response, just to kind of set us up narratively for the next round?
Well, he just shoulder checked a moving armored truck, so probably trying to recover from that mostly. As I imagine no matter how big he is, that truck's still going to be heavier, so he'll probably have been knocked down the street a little bit and be picking himself back up. Thank you very much for the reroll, Hawkeye.
As you scoop yourself up off the ground and steady yourself, you see the headlights of these two other armored trucks coming up right in your direction. They're just like 10 feet in front of your face. Who do you pass your initiative off to?
Jake.
Okay. Okay. Rutherford is now probably out of sight. He's so far behind us. There's a crowd of people that are going after my fake gold coins, and there's trucks that are between him and us. So that's not good. Cam, Celeste, and Cassie are right in front of me. We're headed towards this building. What can I, let's see, what can I do? Is the front door of the building just like unguarded? It's open? What's the situation there?
Roll me sharp as you're coming up on it.
Nine.
It's hard to see how guarded there is. Definitely armed figures in the crowd that are watching you. They're not raising their guns towards you. There's a raised dais with a man standing on it. This is beyond the bonfires, but before the front door of the Luxor Hotel and Casino. You can tell that he's wearing pretty non-modern clothes. He's wearing like dirty blue jeans and cowboy boots and a blue jacket, jean jacket. He's wearing denim on denim, which people just don't do anymore. But he's doing it. He's kind of watching you, but with the negative side effect being that you can't quite see the front door, and if it's open, you will see a little bit more about those palm trees. There are boards that have been nailed horizontally onto the trees, and there are people nailed to the boards, arms out. Christmas lights have been strung up around them, around their legs, their arms, the boards themselves, and those lights are flickering with a rhythm, as though they've been set to go at a certain every couple of seconds. It's maybe almost 10 figures there, and the bonfires in front of them. It looks like the people who weren't distracted by the gold are kind of moving their attention between you and between the figures on the boards.
Largest metal object within reach.
You're at a car park.
I'm just going to start turning cars to gold.
Just as you're passing them,
as I'm passing, every car I can touch heading towards this building is gold.
All right, roll me weird. And where are you? What are you trying to get to? Where's your end goal?
I'm trying to get into that building and outside of being out in the open, and I'd like to do it with the others, but I want to draw everyone's attention away from us. I want to create the biggest distraction I can possibly create, and gold BMWs certainly are distracting, or whatever cars are there in this car park, you know.
Yeah, roll me weird.
9.
Yeah, you are able to turn some of the cars to gold as you're passing, but you start to feel dizzy the more you use this ability. As closer you get to the Luxor Hotel, and you don't quite make it to the Luxor. You do make it to the people, pushing through the people to the bonfires, to those palm trees, to the boards, before you finally have to stop. And one of the figures from the crowds grabs you and holds you up so that you don't fall down as you're kind of reacclimating yourself.
Who is this person grabbing me?
It's just a dirty
Dirty person.
That's dirty, like middle-aged man, balding. Looks like he was probably pretty heavy at some point, but now his skin sags off of him as he's lost a lot of weight.
I put my hand on his shoulder to stabilize myself, and I say thanks. And that thanks is like it comes from the heart, but it's also like, this person obviously has bigger problems right now than helping me stabilize myself. Maybe Celeste was right. Cam was right about there are being good people out there.
He locks eyes with you. He squeezes your arm in turn and says, "We're all in this together, son."
Right, we are. And does he have any metal on him?
Sure, yeah. He's got like a belt buckle. He's got like a silver necklace.
His belt buckle is now made of gold. Just thanks, buddy.
All right. So that's the end of your turn. We still have Cam and Celeste.
I'm gonna pass it off to Cam.
All right, Cam.
Cam is holding on to Cassie, and he is going to start following Jake. But as he's doing so, he's looking down at Cassie and just... Would Celeste have told Cam and Jake that they were all siblings?
Yeah,
Or-
I think during the riot you would have definitely got that point of information.
Or, yeah, the relationship dynamic going on. Cam is going to look at Cassie and just... How can we help them? How can we help your family?
She doesn't respond for a second. She kind of rolls her head back, looking up to you. And she says, "Stop, Flag. He'll kill us. He'll kill them. He'll kill you. He's a liar."
And I think at that point, as Cam is following Jake, he would look up at and see the bodies on these trees, and Cassie would hear just the sharpest intake of breath. No, humans didn't do this.
He's not a
A
human.
monster could. A monster. And you, like, Cam's eyes are just fixed, and he's going to... He's going to let go of her, but as he does so, he's going to do a lay on hands on her.
Cassie. Okay, roll that cool.
I'm going to use a luck, and I'm going to turn it into a 12, please.
Absolutely. So you are able to heal her a little bit, and starts to sort of touch her chest and torso. She looks at you with some sort of understanding, maybe not entirely. She looks confused, but after a moment, she raises a hand and she points up to the dais, and you see her shaking finger point at that figure standing there, dressed in blue jeans with a blue denim jacket, and he's looking down back at you, and he's just got a big smile on his face. You can see behind him as another round of gunfire goes out, and there's a cry from the crowd behind you. That blue light at the top of the pyramid that's shooting up into the sky turns red, flickers, and then fades back to blue.
I think kind of upon the realization, you would see Cam, if you'll allow this, Cam will begin to glow. Like just this holy, it doesn't do anything, it's just kind of cinematic that he's trying to, something that he has been hiding so much about himself. He is angry, and this kind of divine light is just coming out of him now. He can't hold it back. And he's gonna try and head up, following Jake, just yelling at him. We have to kill him. We have to kill that monster.
I definitely thought when you told me there was a person on top of that pedestal that that was a statue. No, but yes, we definitely have to kill that monster.
So at the end of your turn, we move to Celeste. And Celeste, what are you doing here in this moment?
I definitely stopped the moment my brother pulled off that stunt. And I will look back where the others went. Would I see the bonfire and flag as well?
You know Flag well enough, you've seen him enough, more than any of the others, to know even that denim silhouette. Even from this distance, you can tell it's him there on top of the pedestal, on top of the dais. Beyond the bonfire, beyond the palm trees, the figures that are gathered around the fires, the ones that are in the car park, some of them on the ground, some of them scattering away from gunfire.
Well, I rolled a dice and it told me that I will turn around. I will probably just give a tiny prayer, like, if you want me to do this, save him. And I will follow the others, and I will try to keep my head down that I'm not spotted, and also trying not to be hit by any rifles.
So roll me a tough and a cool. The tough to avoid being hit, and the cool to see if you can catch up to the others. As you're swerving through the crowd, pushing past people.
That's the tough and the cool. Yeah. Oh, I have 2 rerolls.
You're using both of them?
No, I will use 1 reroll for cool.
All right.
Not really better, but okay.
You are shot in the back several times by these individuals hanging out of the windows of the armored cars. You keep pushing forward. You're pushing people out of your way, trying to get to the front where Cassie is, or Flag is, and your new friends. But you will take 4 harm.
Does my armor help?
It does.
Okay.
How's she looking?
2 more hits she can take, so she's been
All
there,
right.
but she looks bloody.
You reach the others. You manage to catch up. Almost, you're just a little bit behind Cam and Jake, but you're close enough now to see the figures there, crucified on boards, nailed between palm trees. And you see them because you know them. Some of them are alive and some of them are dead. At least you think they're dead. They're not moving. They're hanging limply. And you see Frank and Fiera, who led the Cumberland community, who crossed the country and came to Las Vegas looking for a better life for their people. They had taken care of you when you were almost dead. You see Chris and Mal Hidiel, your friends from New York City. Chris, you've met several times. He's been with you. You're not sure, alive or dead, hanging there, eyes closed. You see Amos, who is also with Chris and a little girl named Jessica. And that's when you see there in the crowd, standing with the other figures, not up on the boards, not seeming to be in danger, but she catches your eye. You see the little girl Jessica that you saved in New York City, the one who could start fires with her mind. And she's crying. And then you see Randall Flagg, smiling. But that's the end of your turn. Rutherford, roll me a weird.
I'll use a reroll. Seven, I'll take it.
Roll me tough.
Oh boy. $11, I'll take it.
Now I'm going to make you re-roll that one.
Ah. That's down to a 5.
Take one of my rerolls. I still have two.
Thank you.
I don't have any rerolls, do I? I'm pretty sure I used.
You have one. One more came
I have
in.
one?
One more came in after you used up the last one. Tough. Ah, it's a 6.
You keeping it?
Yeah.
You can have my reroll.
Why, thank you. That's an 8.
You see for a second as you're standing there, the headlights of the armored cars, the men shouting at you, pointing guns at you. You see just out of the corner of your eye, rolling by your feet and then coming to a stop, that grenade that Celeste had thrown. You have a moment to make a decision.
Run. I'll try and run towards flag and stuff away from the cars. Using my preternatural speed.
You turn and run, gunfire hitting the ground, breaking up concrete around you as you sprint off, and then there's the explosion as the grenade goes off. You see the cars as you turn towards them fly up in the air, and that ball of fire pushes forward. You're thrown forward with the force. You're not entirely able to escape it. You will take 3 harm, but then you roll. The back of your fur is singed.
I'm gonna need to spend a luck to avoid that damage.
How much luck do you have left?
1.
Okay.
You've gone through 4 luck this session. Congratulations.
Oh, God.
You see the street on fire behind you, several of these cars burning, the people in them trying to get out through them on fire. You see them fall to the ground behind you. One of the cars is trying to go through the flames, but is kind of caught. It looks like it's not able to make it through, at least not yet. So your idea is to rush forward and catch up with the others. You'll be there on your next turn.
Thank you, Dan, for the extra reroll. I can't promise it will last very long.
That's the end of your turn. Who do you pass it off to?
Well, as I'm running forward and see the glowing angel of death, I'll pass it on to Cam.
All right, Cam.
Cam, you can see that he is just pulsing with this rage. These tears fall from his eyes, but they're little tiny dots of light that almost seem to just float off his face. It looks like he's in this weird, like, stasis moment, and he is going to... Sorry, just to clarify, we do get a weapon, right? We just didn't get any armor, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so, Jake, you've never seen him wield a weapon. Even when we had like gone into some tricky situation, he had never ever had a weapon with him. But from the folds of his suit, this rumpled suit, he pulls out this it's almost like this cylinder thing, and it just elongates and starts to flame, and it's just this sword that he has, and he wants to just try and attack Flag.
Roll me sharp.
I'm going to re-roll that.
All right.
I know it's turn-based here, but as I'm seeing this, is there anything I can do to assist Cam get the flag?
Yes, you can give up your turn to use the help action, which is a roll of cool. And if you do well, you can give her a bonus.
And you get my reroll, Megan.
Go ahead and re-roll again, Cam.
Do you think it's worth me using up my turn to help you here, or should I just use my turn to also try to get to him?
Yeah, maybe just attack from all fronts would be best, I think. There we go.
Congratulations, you see what you would have missed otherwise when your sword lights up with fire and there's just a little bit more light. You see another figure there on the boards, nailed to the boards. What was the last time you saw Sabriel like?
Oh no. Cam remembers his Sabriel in the back of a truck being taken away, him running after them as fast as he could, but it just wasn't fast enough. Sabriel was bloody. Sabriel was almost unconscious, but he just couldn't reach them. And as he sees them, he screams in just this fiery rage. Seems to glow brighter. The sword seems to... And he is just gonna charge at Flag.
And I'm going to do the exact opposite of what Cam asked me to do and give up my turn to help her.
Roll me cool and get your bonus.
I'm going to... Oh, I don't have a reroll. I'm going to use my last luck to make that a 12.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. So that means that you will get on your attack, Cam, a plus. That's actually because he used his luck, he's actually going to give you basically a luck. You get an automatic 12.
So I'd like to flavor this as the way I'm helping her is I'm going to take my shotgun, do that movie, reload in one hand, and as it's reloading, it turns to gold. And I'm just shooting it up into the air so that people will clear the path for him to run through freely.
And the crowd parts at the shotgun blast in the air. Cam, you're rushing forward. You have to duck underneath the board, and for a moment, maybe it was on purpose, maybe it was just accident, as you were moving enraged, your hand brushes the leg of Sabriel just as it's sort of hanging beside you, and then you move past and you get to attack Flag. So what is this attack like?
So Cam is not even thinking. He can't... I don't know that he's so blinded by this rage. He's just going to swing down his sword at Flag just with all of his might that he can muster. And so I have Smite, which means the divine weapons count as a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
it's as if you rolled a 12. So
Okay.
you have a basic move called Kick Some Ass, With a 12, you get an enhanced effect. You can completely hold. All hunters get +1 for the rest of this round. You can suffer no harm at all. So you can choose to be entirely protected from any counterattack. Your attack can inflict double the normal harm, or your attack drives the enemy away, at least temporarily.
I think with his rage, right now he's gonna be doing double harm.
All right. So how much total harm is that?
6
Excellent.
harm, I believe, with
So
the flaming sword. And it also says hand, fire, and holy.
Yep. So those are the types of damage it does, and certain creatures are. But since it's smite, you automatically hit it as though he's vulnerable to your damage. So you do 6 harm. You cleave through him. He doesn't even seem to shift. He's smiling at you, and that smile just gets bigger, even as you cut through him from here to here and pull your flaming sword out again. And his body is hanging off of itself like this for a second before it just kind of reattaches. It does stun him for a moment, though. He's healing in front of you. He doesn't counterattack you at all this turn. And let's see, is that the end of our turn? No. We still have Celeste, correct? Is that right?
Yeah.
Celeste, it's your turn. Jake, I do want you to make me a weird check.
Sure.
But it is Celeste's turn.
7.
Cool. Celeste?
Just asking on how far everyone is. How could I reach Cam and Flag and still do something? Or same question, could I reach Jessica and do something?
You can get to Jessica, you can get to Flag, you can get to the figures that are nailed to the boards and the palm trees. You're close enough now that you can get to any of them.
I will do what I probably expected will come. So she will just give Jessica a wave, like, I see you, but run forward up to Flag, standing next to Cam. She will take a deep breath and try to focus. Try to think of all her friends that are either up there or somewhere else, especially people like Gabe, like Mel, and do banishment, and I will dump my both locks in there. So basically Celeste is giving all she has and will, with a look upstairs, this is the one time you have to do something.
So banishment, this isn't something she's had before, right?
No. That's why I took the last bad roll, because I needed the level up to get it.
You needed it. Yep.
Do you need
So
the tip?
let's see. This is from the Divine, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I can also put it in my sheet if you want to.
Oh no, that's okay. Go ahead and roll me. Is this Cast Out Evil?
Yeah, cast out evil,
Okay.
and I'll dump my luck, so I don't have to roll. It's 12.
Perfect. So you're using this on Randall Flag?
Yep.
So how does she's praying to God, and she says,
She is thinking of all her friends and basically just saying upstairs, now is the time that you do something. Because I can't control where he's banished. So that would be the point, like, do something, put him wherever he has to go.
roll me weird.
Okay. And I will use my last luck on that.
You also have a d6 you can add.
Yeah, but that will not bring much. I'm quite sure we need a good roll for this.
You hear Silence for a moment. The cheering of the crowds, the burning of the fires, the screaming of people being gunned down, that sort of slow rumbling laughter that's escaping Flag's lips, even that's gone. And for a second, you just hear the clink, 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 with what sounds like a metal spoon rapping against the inside of a glass of tea. And you see there in the crowd a man wearing a nice suit. He's got slicked back hair. He looks perfect. He looks like he could have come straight out of Wall Street. He doesn't look dirty like the rest of the figures. He also doesn't look particularly compassionate or interested in you. There's something just slightly above it and bored about his expression. But as he's standing there, he puts his left hand on Jessica's shoulder. Looks up at him, tears in her eyes, and she nods her head as though she understands. Jake?
I still have 2 questions.
Ask me.
I want to know what the heck this monster wants from this person, the person being Jessica.
You know somehow, you're not sure how, but everything's starting to make sense. The flaming sword, you see the connections, the flaming sword, the strange energy, the prayers that talk about demons and angels and devils, this figure Flag that you've just seen get cut and then heal, and then this man with a tea glass stopping, putting his hand on the girl's shoulder. She begins to glow. Her skin begins to heat up as though it were metal. It gets red hot, and somehow you realize this is God. This man is God. And the girl seems to be accepting some sort of command or some sort of purpose as she nods up to him with tears in her eyes. You have another question. If you'd like to use it, I'll let you.
Yeah, I'd like to use my second question. I'm just not sure which of the 5 is most appropriate. Can I just generally use my last question to say I want more?
Her skin is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. You're seeing fire escape from her eyes, from her nose.
I want to know how to protect this little girl from whatever fate she's about to be put through.
You think it has to do with the man? Maybe it's God. Maybe it's something else. That to stop her, you have to stop him. That's what you think.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Celeste, you see this happen too. How does Celeste react?
She's regretting that she didn't run to Jessica. She would just stare, I'm quite sure. But she will stare at Jessica and gone.
Can I run to them?
Yeah. We were back up to the top of the initiative, which is Rutherford first.
I'd like to dive.
And I'll tell you, this is going to be the last round of what we call initiative here today.
I'm not taking in everything that's going on. I'm not going to attack Flag. I'm just going to try and prevent harm coming to people as much as I can. If that means picking up a parked car and trying to put it using it as a shield for bullet fire or something like that, that'll be my action. This is sort of like Rutherford making his last stand, putting himself in harm's way.
Roll me tough.
Eight.
Reroll.
Did it roll?
Oh. That first one was an 8?
First one was an 8, second one was a 12.
Reroll.
I think you're out.
Oh, am I? I thought I had one more. All right. So you are able to turn over a golden BMW and use it as a shield, protecting, gather it on the streets. You're able to protect from the fire coming from behind, and on a 12, I'll even give you some luck. There's some gunfire coming from the streets against the others, and you see coming down in a row of cars, people leaning out. A lot of individuals, you can't really tell much about who they are, but it seems that they're basically attacking the rear of these vans behind you. You do see one of their faces. It looks like the crazy old pot grower Virgil from Boulder, Colorado. You also notice with him Nora from Boulder. So you can't see everybody, but it looks like there are people from Boulder arriving and attacking the security, the guards that are coming after you. And for a second, it looks like they're entirely engaged behind you, and you're able to protect the civilians. And now it's just a lot of you and Randall Flagg.
I'm happy with that. Thank you. I will.
Who are you?
I will, seeing Jake running towards Jessica, I'll pass it to Jake.
Jake, it's your turn.
So my question tells me that this person who is potentially turning this little girl into a weapon, that's at least what I'm taking from it, is God. Goes against everything that I was expecting. I quickly closed between the two of them, and obviously if this is God and he has some kind of plan, I just turn to him and I say, don't do this to her. If you have to sacrifice someone, sacrifice me instead.
For a moment, he stops tinking the spoon against the cup. He looks over at you, and while he was disinterested before, there's a flash of interest in his eyes. He lets go of Jessica, who steps back, and she's kind of looking up, afraid. Her skin's still hot, or still red, and he extends a hand out to you like a handshake.
I shake his hand.
As you shake his hand, you can feel your skin beginning to heat up. You feel burning inside of you, like your blood, the water is boiling, and you hear him speak to you, his eyes flashing with a bright white light for just a moment. Maybe I was wrong about you humans. Maybe there are some of you worth protecting. And he shakes your hand for a few more seconds, and you're caught there in his eyes.
I say, I was wrong too. About everything. And I guess that's my turn then. Or I'll do whatever it is he wants me to do.
For a moment, you just think that he's standing there shaking your hand. Your skin's heating up. It's extremely painful after a couple of seconds, but you're still up. You get to pass your initiative off.
Yeah, I'll pass my initiative off to Celeste.
Celeste.
Do I take any harm for that?
No.
No? Okay.
Do you have any luck left?
I have no luck. I have lots of harm. I could take damage. I have no luck.
Celeste, it's your turn.
Flag is still there,
Mm-hmm.
but since I'm staring at Jessica, I'm seeing what is just happening there.
And you would have noticed if you were watching that her skin is beginning to cool down even as Jake's begins to burn, to turn red.
I will probably keep eyesight with her, but pulling out my knife and trying to get it into Flag, basically, because he's next to me, so...
You're gonna rush up?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make your attack.
Yeah.
Do you have any luck left?
No.
You bring your knife down into Flag for 3 damage, 3 harm.
2.
2. And at the same time, he grabs onto you and onto the collar of your jacket and pulls you close. And he says, "Doesn't matter what happens here today. I always come back. I always have a tomorrow."
I will not answer. I will just stare at him.
Am, it's your turn.
Cam has tunnel vision right now as he sees that Flag is still there and is something that needs to be destroyed. And as he sees Flag grab Celeste, he yells again, and this time it's filled with fear as much as it is with hate. He feels himself being lost. He feels himself becoming what he once was, which was a warrior, something that he did not want to be, something that was why he was exiled, was because he had refused to fight. He had refused to be a lackey, to follow orders, but now he's finding himself back to that place again, and he can't stop. And he's still going to attack with his sword.
Make that attack.
Is that a cool?
Tough.
Tough, okay. I am going to re-roll that with my last re-roll.
All right. You have any luck left?
I do have 1 left, and I think that he's going to use that. Yeah.
Do you remember what it means to be a warrior of God, a warrior of justice and what's right, at least from your perspective? You stand there facing down this demon, and you know it's a demon now. You can see it in his eyes. There's a hunger there for all living life. Just wants pain, just wants chaos. You see him smiling, that smile into Celeste. You see everything that she's been through the past few months in dealing with Randall Flagg. How do you do it?
He wants to just thrust the sword directly into Flagg's chest and get in very close to him. And just say nothing, but just show him or just convey all the pain and the hate and the fear and the guilt and everything that Cam has felt over the years of him being on Earth.
He moves his eyes there at the last moment from Celeste to you, Cam. He knows what you are and you know what he is. And if just for a second before his body burns away under the fire of your sword, you see that smile fade and you see fear in his eyes. And then he melts under the force of your rage, of your righteousness. You're standing there on top, Rutherford. Gunfire's happening behind you. You've protected a number of people with the car, and as you look back, you see Cam cut down Randall Flagg. You see Celeste standing up there with him. You see Cassie there at the edge of the pedestal, looking up, reaching up for Celeste. And you see Jake. And Jake catches on fire. It emits through his eyes, through his ears, through his nose, through his mouth. His hair burns away. His flesh is burning away, but that fire is getting bigger. Rutherford, roll me weird.
Nine.
You...
I've
This reminds... Yeah?
got a D6 I can add to that. Whatever
Oh,
happens, it'll be better.
good timing. He's gonna blow. And you have it in your gut, you feel it in your heart that this is gonna be big.
Someone help me with American geography. How close is Vegas to the sea?
There's California between Las Vegas and the ocean.
Quite a way
It's
then.
in the middle of quite a ways.
If anyone survives this, it's not going to be for anything else. I think he's going to blow. I think it's going to be like a nuke, so I think things are going to get real bad. So I'm going to just try and grab Cassie and throw her as far as I can that way, hoping that maybe the blast might send her the rest of the way, and who knows, she might survive. It's a long shot. Rutherford's given up hope.
Rutherford, you rush to Cassie. You grab her and try to put her between you and Jake, throw her out of the way. Celeste, you look down, you see Rutherford rushing towards Cassie. She's reaching up towards you, even as Randall Flagg falls before you. Celeste, what do you do?
I will whisper thank you to Cam. I'm seeing as well what's happening to Jake, and knowing how Jessica behaved, also having quite a good understanding. She will yell to Jessica for whatever it's good that she should run, and I will go for my siblings, go for Cassie and Rutherford to try to stay with them as best as I can.
Cam, what do you do in this moment?
Cam's anger fades away as quickly as it came upon seeing Flagg destroyed, but that fear, that guilt is still coursing through him. He's going to run to Sabriel and hold on to their leg, whatever he can reach from of them, and just hold it, press his face against, and just begin to weep.
You feel Sabriel's hand brush against your face. Their eyes flutter open weakly for a moment, and they hold you there. Maybe they're weeping too. There's a sound coming out of their mouth, but it's choked. It's hard to tell. Jake, what do you do in this moment?
I'm gonna blow up. God is standing in front of me.
He's looking at you.
I just say, why?
I made too many mistakes. I have to start over. Don't worry. They'll be all right.
Save them.
You go.
I go.
You go.
I go to wherever I think I'm supposed to go.
As you just sort of give in to what's happening, you are gone in an instant. There's nothing left of you, at least of your body. What else there is of you, who's to say? Las Vegas ignites an explosion not unlike a nuclear bomb. Mushroom cloud up into the air. There, holding each other, Cam and Sabril, Celeste, Rutherford, and Cassie. The survivors from Boulder who came to your rescue. Nora, Virgil, and the others. The bodies, at least, of your friends who died, who'd been persecuted by Randall Flagg. Jessica, the girl. Untouched by the explosion. Just covered in the ashes of the falling city. And that is where we will end our story.
Well, we are a little ways over time. Thank you, everyone. It happens on the finale sometimes. Whew, what an end. Let's go round. Let's talk about who we are, where we can find each other online. Just a quick wrap up. We will start with Dice and Ice Meg.
Wow, that was heavy. That was awesome, though. Very, very amazing. Yeah. But I'm Megan with Dice on Ice. We have a YouTube channel where we put live plays, and yeah, you can also find me on Twitter at Dice on Ice RPG. Thank you again so much for having me play, for letting me come on here and just experience these awesome drop-in games, and amazing. So yeah, speechless.
Thank you. Next, Joshua Bobo. Am I spelling that? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Barbeau, yes,
Hey.
more or less. Joshua Barbeau, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Joshua Barbeau. It's Barbeau. If you're in the Toronto area, you can also find my website. It's dmondemand.ca. You can hire me as a dungeon master to come out to birthday parties, weddings, and other social events. And yeah, I love doing this. I had a blast playing with everyone, and pulling the self-sacrifice maneuver at the end just felt like the right way for Jake's character arc to come to a close.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Vicky, been a long season. How you doing?
I will need a bit. It was clear it would be hard, but oh my god, thank you, Megan and Joshua, for joining and giving the two marvelous characters quite perfectly for the ending. And you can find me on cutie_v on Twitter, and you will see me next season on this channel again for another creepy game. So let's see how that goes. Thank you everyone for joining, also for the viewers, all the support. Thank you so much.
Big thank you to everyone. Thank you. Lastly, Don. What a season. Oh, hi, bud.
Hi. Oh man, yeah, I loved it from the very beginning to the very end. I loved just so many amazing characters every single week. The new ones, the arc for Rutherford and for Celeste, not knowing where things were going, but trusting that we'd get there one way or the other together. I love the characters today, a whole lot. I really like Jake and Cam I thought they both, yeah, I loved getting to play with you guys for the first time. Thank you, chat, for being so supportive of this show and of all the players. For those of you who got to play, and those of you who haven't played on Scratticus before, if you're watching this, please reach out to Scratticus and let him get you in a game, because you're going to have a lot of fun. And that's why we do this, even though today was a little gloomy. Hopefully everyone still had fun. I know I did. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's been a lot to me. And I look forward to whatever comes next. I will say I freelance dungeon master, freelance writer, usually D&D modules. You can follow me on Twitter at Jonathan Fry. Do that if you want to. I do other stuff too. I post about it there. But mostly I'm just very, very grateful for the opportunity to tell such a great story with so many amazing people. Scratticus, Vicky, Megan and Joshua today. Thank you very much for having me and letting me be a part of your lives on Mondays. That's all I have. I'm going to toss it over to you, Scrat, and if you want, it's up to you. Do you want to read the contents of the letter, or do you want it to remain a mystery?
I will put it in the Discord for people to read at their leisure.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I'll put it in the Discord, the letter that I wrote to Cassie. Thank you very much, everyone. We have our raid cry, 5 out of 5 kabooms with Apocalypse again. The bot's going to spam me with links, so please check those out as well. Until next time, keep evoking emotions. We'll be back in an hour and a half with the finale of The Mists of Sire. It's going to be a rocky week. We'll catch you all later on. Bye!